Survival for all. I start by building a mecha and piloting a Gundam. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 76, Clearing the monsters outlying. Above the castle, the light of the protective shield was gradually dimming. Is it going to disappear? Tang Xiaofan opened the world chat channel and looked at the standard time displayed on the right. There were still 3 minutes to 12 o'clock. At this time, countless players spoke in the world chat channel. It's time. The power of the castle's protective shield is gradually disappearing. Oh no. The protective shield is really gone. I'm not ready yet. Except for the castle lord who has advanced and top level soldiers. Who is ready? If you want to survive, then fight hard. Easy to say. There are at least hundreds of wild monsters outside my castle, and they will definitely kill their way in. My castle soldiers are low level kobolds, with weak combat effectiveness, and can't be stopped at all. Don't say you can't resist. If you can't even stop these wild monsters, how can you resist the beast tide? How can you attack the local defense force? At least you still have soldiers. My soldiers encountered an accident the day before yesterday, and 90% of them were killed or injured. The only way I have now is to retreat to the castle's gate, and try to rely on the narrow space, to prevent the wild monsters from breaking into the castle. Hold on, brother upstairs. Actually, it would be better if it was daytime, but it's night now. The wild monsters are in a violent state and their combat effectiveness is even stronger. Those wild monsters are very strange, as if they can sense that our protective shield is about to disappear, and they are gathering. That's right. There are already wild monsters hitting the protective shield. Damn it. Brothers and sisters, take care of yourselves. There are still 3 minutes left, and I'm ready to fight to the end. I hope everyone can see each other again tomorrow. I hope everyone can see each other again tomorrow. Everyone sent out blessings, and then the world chat channel quickly fell silent. The battle is about to begin, and no one is still in the mood to chat. Tang Xiaofan also turned off the world chat channel and cast his light on the outside of the castle. The area near the protective shield is already an open space, bloody and messy. After the machine gun fire, no monsters can stay there. The blood flowing from these corpses reflects the dense forest shrouded by the blood-colored moonlight. Dim and miserable, in the dense forest, black shadows are scattered, and countless green eyes are like stars dotted in the dark night. Compared with other castle lords, Tang Xiaofan's city seems more deserted. And outside the castles of other castle lords, there are many wild monsters hitting the protective shield, as if they really know that the protective shield is about to disappear. The dense forest was shaking. The roar of the monsters was like dense drums. It announced that a feast of killing was about to begin. It's time. Seeing that the protective shield of the castle began to tremble violently, the light became fainter. Tang Xiaofan did not hesitate. He put on a Mark II armor directly. At the same time, he took out the fine iron giant sword contributed by the goblin chieftain, and looked at it in his hand. The sword was about 1.5 meters long, 60 centimeters wide, and the thickness of the sword reached 13 centimeters. It was a veritable giant sword. It was called Sword of the Goblin Chieftain, a super equipment. Zhang Yi, take the sword. Yes. Zhang Yi took the giant sword, as if nothing had happened. For him, holding a piece of grass could kill the enemy now. In addition to the weapons and armor, Tang Xiaofan also wore a ring with a diameter of about 5 centimeters on his chest. It was the king level magic equipment of the Cyclops ring. This giant ring can be said to be the top equipment at the moment. Tang Xiaofan wore it close to his body. Everything is ready. Tang Xiaofan pointed to the wild monsters hidden in the forest outside the castle and said expressionlessly, "Kill them all." "Yes, my lord." The farmers shouted in unison and raised their giant axes at the same time with fanatical expressions. "My lord, unify the world." Then, the farmers stepped out of the castle's protective shield in unison with neat steps. The farmer team can suppress even the 18th level lord level monster in a violent state. It can be said that the monsters gathered outside the castle are not invincible to Tang Xiaofan. On the contrary, they are all Tang Xiaofan's hunting targets. The farmer team has grown up. Even if the protective shield does not disappear, Tang Xiaofan will send the farmer team to hunt at night. The dense forest shrouded in darkness can no longer threaten his farmers. The Lord said that the world needs to be covered by his glory. Along with Zhang Yi's clear voice, a dazzling white light poured down, instantly illuminating the dense forest within a radius of hundreds of meters as bright as day. This is the effect of tracer bullets. Under the illumination of tracer bullets, all the wild monsters hidden in the dense forest were forced to expose themselves. The camp of wild monsters suddenly began to be in chaos. However, under the influence of the blood moon, they were deeply in a violent state. They did not retreat. Whether it was the death of other monsters in front or the current machine gun shooting, they could not retreat. At this time, a huge howl sounded in the monster group. Tang Xiaofan looked up and found that it was actually a few undead gals. 3 level 8. Under the illumination of tracer bullets, black smoke came out of their bodies and rolled on the ground in great pain. This is not the light of Zitang. It is the light from the metal laboratory that has been buffed. Its insects contain the power of metal and have great damage to creatures belonging to the undead system. Coupled with the damage of the ammunition, these gals, whose highest level was only level 8, naturally could not resist. They fell to the ground, rolling and struggling desperately. They made miserable screams. They wanted to get rid of the ammunition, but it was obviously meaningless, because with the tracer bullets, endless ammunition was poured on them. Compared with other monsters, they were more restrained by ammunition. After they were hurt by the ammunition, the skin that was shot made a sizzling sound, and black smoke was emitted. Soon, several gals stopped struggling. They turned into corpses, and the corpses were completely shattered by the ammunition, and even their soul fire was extinguished. Undead creatures can be resurrected with the soul fire and some specific undead materials. However, for Tang Xiaofan's farmers, there is no difference between undead creatures and wild monsters. They even die faster. Undead gals have appeared. This is really the first time. It is the first time Tang Xiaofan has encountered undead creatures since he descended. Generally speaking, too many undead creatures appear in places like cemeteries and graveyards. These places are rich in the breath of death and are most likely to give birth to undead creatures. In addition, the underground world is also the base camp of undead creatures. However, the forest is mainly dominated by wild monsters such as beasts and birds, and the local forces are mostly intelligent creatures of half evil and half neutral camps such as goblins, and two-headed demons. Undead creatures are not common. Chapter 77. The protective shield disappears, and the battle begins. It must be related to the metal laboratory. Tang Xiaofan had a guess in his mind. The metal laboratory would increase the hatred of all local forces. These suddenly appearing gals should have been attracted by the metal laboratory. However, he did not expect that he underestimated the combat effectiveness of the black technology castle and was directly purified by a conventional machine gun fire. Tang Xiaofan was glad that his castle did not appear in the base camp of the undead creatures, otherwise he would have to face an endless army of undead. It seems that there are also undead in the forest, but relatively speaking, the number is much smaller. Tang Xiaofan did not think about it anymore, because his warrior team had already started a war with the wild monsters outside the castle. On the battlefield, the wild monsters in a violent state gathered together and attacked the warriors wearing Mark armor crazily. They lost their minds under the influence of the blood moon. Even if their companions were killed, they showed no signs of retreating. One group died, and another group surrounded them, one after another. Outside the black technology castle, the battle seemed extremely tragic, but in fact, the warriors were all at ease. 200 warriors, the highest level reached level 18, and the weakest was level 10. Coupled with the double-edged giant axe, as well as the unparalleled strength and the extremely sturdy Mark armor, the wild monsters were no match for the warrior team. Not to mention, on the city wall, the machine guns were firing continuously. Jarvis successfully took over all the shooting and aiming work at this moment. He only needed the Mark armor to control the M249 machine gun, and the muzzle of the machine gun would spray out an endless torrent of steel. In addition, within the sphere of influence of the black technology castle, the attack and defense of the warriors were increased by 10% by the addition of the metal laboratory, making them even stronger. In front of them, the wild monsters, which were only at the elite level 12, basically died as many as they could. Soon, a large number of wild monster corpses piled up on the castle. At this time, the protective shield that had been trembling above the castle for a long time finally couldn't hold on. It dissipated with a bang and disappeared completely. At the same time, the protective shields of hundreds of castle lords also disappeared. The novice period is over. The cruel new era has arrived. Roar, roar, roar. The dense roars of wild monsters sounded from all directions. Then, a large number of wild monsters rushed into Tang Xiaofan's territory from all directions. The sphere of influence of his castle territory is 18 kilometers in diameter, with the castle as the center. Sensing that there are wild monsters coming in from other directions, the warriors retreated to the city wall. Surrounding the city wall, a defensive circle was formed to block the wild monsters. The open space around the outer wall of the castle also became a new battlefield. Tang Xiaofan did not stay on the wall any longer. He returned to his castle. Now the castle was 4 stories high, and he could check the entire defense situation on the roof. He saw that most of the soldiers were shooting down from the wall. Sometimes they would choose to jump down from the wall and kill the monsters. Moreover, they were killing monsters with a purpose, targeting those monsters that gathered together. When these monsters gathered to a certain extent, they might pose a threat to the wall, such as bull-headed monsters or elephant-like monsters, which posed a greater threat to the wall. So these soldiers would go down from time to time to kill these 2 types of monsters. Especially Zhen Yi, his huge 2-handed sword with a red glow, was very eye-catching in the monster pile. Suddenly, a huge figure pounced on him, and the melon seeds he slapped were as big as Zhen Yi's body. And he slapped Zhen Yi instantly. Tang Xiaofan saw from the roof that Zhen Yi was hit by a terrifying force, and his body flew up involuntarily. Zhen Yi. Tang Xiaofan was shocked. This monster was not simple. In the underground world, the Dark Iron Dwarf Castle was also invaded by wild monsters. Kill. Protect the castle and the glory of the Dark Iron Dwarfs. Kill all the dark creatures in the underground world, and protect Princess Kera. Under the leadership of the Dark Iron Dwarf Xavier, more than 200 Dark Iron Dwarves gathered near the fence of the castle, and fought desperately with the wild monsters who wanted to attack the Dark Iron Dwarf Castle. The Dark Iron Dwarves are low-level soldiers, with a very low initial level and a low growth limit. But all of the Black Iron Dwarf soldiers of Little Lolita are wearing armor and holding weapons. In addition, the Dark Iron Dwarf Xavier is a peak level 18 warrior and a sky swordsman of the Dwarf clan. The more than 100 Dark Iron Dwarves he brought to the Dark Iron Dwarf Castle are all elite Dark Iron Dwarf warriors. In addition, the Dark Iron Dwarf Castle also has defensive buildings with extremely strong defense. Therefore, it is almost impossible for wild monsters to break through the Dark Iron Dwarf Castle protected in the center. Uncle Xavier, you must pay attention to safety. Little Lolly stood on the 4th floor balcony of the Dark Iron Dwarf Castle. She was too weak, only level 6. And she was not good at fighting. Her real fighting power might not be as good as that of a level 2 wild monster. She could only stay in the safe zone. Little Lolly gritted her teeth and tried to control her body from shaking. Her little face was pale. She was very scared and wanted to hide in the castle. Hide in the quilt or crawl under the bed. Don't let those wild monsters with red eyes find her. But she didn't. She insisted on appearing on the balcony and shouted loudly, letting the Dark Iron Dwarves on the battlefield know that she didn't retreat. Although she was young, she was very brave. The morale of the Dark Iron Dwarves was greatly boosted. Under the leadership of Xavier, the peak level 18 Dark Iron Dwarf, they killed wild monsters crazily. At this moment, their loyalty has exceeded 90 points. For Princess Kera, nothing can make them retreat. Even if the Dark Dragon attacks, they dare to fight it. As the killing continued, the wild monsters outside the castle are finally gradually decreasing. Of course, some Dark Iron Dwarves died in the battle, and even their bodies were torn to pieces by wild monsters. But still no Dark Iron Dwarves retreated. Loyalty is faith, and they are willing to sacrifice their lives for the Dark Iron Dwarf Castle they protect. On the balcony, the little girl's big eyes were filled with tears, and her cute porcelain doll face was also grey and white. She mustered up her courage and took a set of low-grade bows and arrows from the warehouse. She clumsily put the iron arrow on the bowstring and then tremblingly pulled the bow and arrow into a full moon shape. She lacked combat experience and strength, but after all, she was a level 6 life form, so she still had strength. She tremblingly aimed at a wild monster, gritted her teeth and shot hard. With a puff sound, the iron arrow pierced the ground and shot into the air. The little girl did not give up, and pulled the bow and shot the arrow again and again. Her cheeks flushed, and finally, she succeeded. She shouted excitedly, "Kea can also kill monsters. Long live Princess Kea." The dark-ironed dwarves on the battlefield were also cheering, as if they saw the dawn of victory. Chapter 78 The Crazy Monster Who Never Dies. On the endless prairie, hundreds of prairie monsters are attacking Bear's castle, the ancient giant bear castle. Bear, wearing a high-level suit, leads dozens of top-level soldiers, and the ancient giant bear is tearing and killing among the monsters. Bear, with bulging muscles, holds a big sword and swings it up and down, and the blood of the beasts is flying. His battle clothes have long been soaked with blood, but he is indifferent. He is as majestic and powerful as a martial god, leading the ancient giant bear corps to kill monsters everywhere. Monster corpses are everywhere. In a valley, bang 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 sounds keep ringing. Looking up, a large group of wild monsters are besieging the castle in the center of the valley. The owner of the castle ordered more than 60 dwarf musketeers to form a circle. Use fierce gunfire to block the attacks of wild monsters. The sound of muskets is continuous, the smell of black gunpowder permeates the valley, and wild monsters fall in a pool of blood. Only elite wild monsters could rush to the front, but they were also torn to pieces by the nearby dwarf musketeers. The battle was extremely tragic. In a swamp, there stood a lonely castle. There were corpses everywhere around the castle, including corpses of wild monsters and corpses of castle soldiers. The battle was not over yet. But the swamp monster group had obviously taken an absolute advantage, rushing into the castle territory and slaughtering the castle soldiers one after another. Finally, they rushed into the castle, accompanied by a terrified scream, and the owner of the castle was torn to pieces. Not long after, the heart of the castle was breached by the swamp monsters. This fairly magnificent intermediate castle collapsed with a loud bang and turned into ruins in the blink of an eye. The swamp monsters, like a school of fish, scattered and disappeared in the swamp. A corner of the forest, a young man stood on the balcony, commanding his top soldiers. The stone giants killed people everywhere. Dozens of stone giants swept across, and the wild monsters fell to the ground and died one after another. Almost invincible. Too weak. There are not even a few elite monsters. What happened to this forest? This level of battle poses no pressure to my stone giant army. The young man shook his head and sighed. He thought that, when the protective shield disappeared, a large number of wild monsters would attack his castle, and he would be in a difficult situation. Unexpectedly, they were all low-level monsters, and there were only 3 or 4 elite monsters, so there was no pressure at all. It seems that I have to wait for the beast tide to get a big harvest. The young man looked at the blood moon hanging in the sky, looking forward to the early arrival of the beast tide. In the god and demon continent, hundreds of castle lords all over the world are facing the siege of wild monsters. Some castle lords are proud of their superiors, leading powerful troops to push back the wild monsters and kill them everywhere. Some castle lords struggled to resist, and their troops suffered heavy losses. Some castle lords have become corpses under the monster's teeth, and their castles have become ruins and have disappeared from the memories of others. Every castle lord is experiencing war. Some cheer for victory, some beg for mercy in despair, or die tragically on the battlefield. It depends on whether the castle lords can adapt to it. The Black Tech Castle in the forest faces a larger and stronger group of wild monsters. Elite monsters emerge endlessly. Sometimes there will be a few commander level monsters. It has to be said that this is due to luck. Of course, if Tang Xiaofan were to speculate, he would think that this is directly related to the upgrade of the Black Tech Castle to a town. After all, the influence and reputation of the Black Tech Castle in the forest have reached a well-known level. The well-known Black Tech Castle attracts not only the attention of local forces, but also wild monsters in the nearby dense forests. In this dark forest, Tang Xiaofan's Black Tech Castle is a bright white light that is very eye-catching. On the battlefield, Zhang Yi's body flew more than 10 meters in the air, but he did not fall to the ground. Instead, he flipped backwards and landed steadily. He looked up at the enemy who attacked him. It was a level 16 Great Command level bear monster. Its body was more than 10 meters long and very scary, like an ancient beast. The ground seemed to tremble during its movement. The level 16 black bear commander also stared at Xinyi. His blood-red eyes were filled with brutality, bloodthirstiness, and madness. Under the influence of the blood moon, even a level 16 Great Commander level monster had lost its mind. At this moment, a fiery red giant sword fell from the void and directly pierced the body of the level 16 black bear commander, nailing it to the ground. This was a counterattack from Xinyi. He was now controlling the Mark II armor, and could already jump more than 10 meters in the air. With that incredible speed, before the black bear could react, he killed it with one sword! With Xinyi's level 18 strength, it was not difficult to kill a level 16 black bear commander. Even if they were at the same level, this was the suppression of a high level life form over a low level life form. My lord. Xinyi carried the huge bear corpse, and came to Tang Xiaofan's side in a few jumps. It is the honor of a warrior, to present the enemy's corpse to the lord. Other warriors were also looking for powerful monsters. They were willing to show off their martial arts skills in front of the lord. Tang Xiaofan patted Xinyi's shoulder with satisfaction and said, "Good job. Xinyi, you are indeed the best warrior." He saw that Xinyi was not injured. Jarvis also transmitted the image of Xinyi's physical condition. Even though he was slapped by the 16th level black bear commander, Xinyi was still as lively as ever. The Mark II armor was indeed extremely defensive, and the attack of this monster could not be shaken at all. Moreover, ordinary batteries are still used to support the armor's defense actions. When the arc reactor is manufactured, the defense of this armor will increase 1,000 times. Sir, I killed most of the monsters with the machine gun. Okay, Jarvis, you are the most powerful warrior. Thank you, sir. After comforting Jarvis, who was vying for credit, he looked at Xinyi, who continued to kill the wild monsters in the open space with a giant sword in his hand. He asked again, Jarvis, how is the progress of the palladium element? Sir, it's very soon, but because there are no skilled scientific and technological researchers, only mechanics and blacksmiths are temporarily serving as staff. The progress is expected to be completed the day after tomorrow. The day after tomorrow, that's also very soon. As long as there is palladium, the arc reactor can be built. The one we directly make is the non-toxic version, right? Yes, of course, sir. We are a new element produced based on palladium. Not only does it make the reactor work several times more efficiently than the original design, it also avoids the possible heavy metal pollution problems. Okay, looking forward to it. At this moment, there were more monsters outside the castle, but the barrage of bullets from the M429 machine guns caused a large number of wild monsters to fall to the ground, howling in pain while struggling. No matter how crazy they were, they could not resist the steel bullets. Few wild monsters could withstand the severe pain after being hit by the barrage of bullets. Most of the wild monsters covered by the barrage fell to the ground screaming and wailing and died. Chapter 79 successfully killed all the violent beasts. The monsters that managed to get through the barrage would be killed by the waiting warriors swinging their giant axes. However, there were too many wild monsters besieging the Black Technology Castle, at least thousands of them. They were not afraid of death. When one group died, another group rushed up, as if they would not be satisfied unless they destroyed Tang Xiaofan's Black Technology Castle. It seems that the disappearance of the protective shield did not cause too much trouble to Tang Xiaofan's castle. Zhang Xiaoxiao, do you still insist that Tang Xiaofan should take the initiative to attack? Yuki rarely did not freeze Zhang Xiaoxiao again, but took the initiative to ask for his opinion. Being asked by a beautiful woman, Zhang Xiaoxiao made a shy expression, but he said without hesitation, of course, as a representative of Dragon Country, how can Tang Xiaofan be so conservative? It's too embarrassing for Dragon Country. Now, we should take the initiative to attack and sweep the whole army. I disagree. From a tactical point of view, Tang Xiaofan has already mastered a greater strategic advantage after building the city wall. As long as we don't attack blindly, we will naturally have a greater advantage. The chief of the bureau had long disliked Zhang Xiaoxiao. When he heard him talking nonsense, he naturally refused to tolerate him and started to spray him directly. Moreover, now it's just the disappearance of the protective shield, not the arrival of the beast tide. Although Tang Xiaofan's fortress is safe and sound now, who can guarantee that there will be no accidents when the beast tide comes? Zhang Xiaoxiao didn't dare to go against the chief of the bureau, but he was not a pushover. He curled his lips and stopped talking, but his dissatisfaction was clearly revealed. Yes, I agree with the bureau chief. Although I don't understand combat, looking at the situation of Tang Xiaofan's armor, the biggest problem is energy. If you leave the castle rashly and cannot replenish energy, the powerful armor may become a fatal threat. Battery? Yes, you see. Although the number of Tang Xiaofan's armor has increased a lot in the past 2 days, because of the automatic manipulator, these armors need batteries to operate. The glowing ores next to the castle are the source of battery energy. Everyone followed Master Zheng's finger and looked over. Sure enough, they saw a piece of glowing small orb behind Tang Xiaofan's castle. This is a place that everyone has overlooked. It can be said that this ore is the foundation for Tang Xiaofan to develop to the present. But, you see, this ore is a source of energy. Everyone saw that it was indeed the case. These ores were the main raw materials for Tang Xiaofan to make batteries. Master Zheng, what are these ores from? As an expert in strategy and tactics, the bureau chief showed a strong interest in the emergence of new energy. I wonder if these ores can be used in Longo. Yes, if this new energy source is used in Longo, the world situation will change. That is, this energy source that can drive a huge battle armor with one piece will be the core factor of Longo's future. When everyone was pinning their hopes on this ore, Zhang Xiaoxiao still sang the opposite tune as usual. No, I think Tang Xiaofan still has a secret. This battery is not his energy solution. This guy, he will die if he doesn't sing the opposite tune. Of course, Tang Xiaofan, who was far away in the God and Demon continent, naturally didn't know that it was rare for Zhang Xiaoxiao to be right once. Unfortunately, he didn't care about the other party's thoughts. His attention was now deeply attracted by the battlefield. Damn. The dense machine gun bullets fired by the M249 poured down, and suddenly, the wild monsters on the battlefield fell in a pool of blood. Not only ordinary monsters, but even those elite monsters were smashed into pieces. During this period of time, hundreds of thousands of wild monsters have died on the battlefield. Those wild monsters that survived by chance looked at the tragic situation around them, but did not retreat at all. Kill. Zhang Yi took the lead, jumped down from the city wall, swung his giant axe, and cleared the wild monsters that were still alive on the battlefield. At the same time, other warriors also jumped down and slaughtered dozens of wild monsters in an instant. Low level, elite, and commanders, none of them could compete. This was a real instant kill. Even Tang Xiaofan jumped up excitedly when he saw it. The stronger the warriors, the stronger his castle power will naturally be. As time passed, more and more wild monsters were killed by the warriors. The monster camp that besieged the Black Technology Castle finally showed a tired posture. The living monsters were roaring and roaring. They were quite unwilling. No matter how they charged, they could not break through the warriors' defense circle, but were slaughtered in batches. Finally, all the ordinary low-level monsters died, and all the elite monsters died, leaving only a few commander-level monsters still holding on. They were affected by the blood moon, and were violent and fearless. And their goal was very clear, that is, to break into the Black Technology Castle. It was as if something in the castle was stimulating them, making them furious and desperate to rush in until the castle was completely destroyed. But in the end, several commander-level monsters still fell on the battlefield, and were easily killed by the warriors with giant axes. It's over for now. Tang Xiaofan slowly breathed a sigh of relief. At the same time, the dazzling golden light appeared again, and all the warriors under his command were shrouded in golden light. This is a vision of promotion. After a long time, the golden light finally dissipated. Tang Xiaofan was promoted directly from level 6 to the peak of level 7, and was only one step away from level 8. Some warriors were promoted by 2 levels, and some were promoted by 4 levels. The promotion was very large. At present, the 1000 warriors under his command have grown to different degrees. The lowest combat power of the warrior team is also level 14. The overall strength has skyrocketed. The level increase has made them more adept at using the armor. Even if the fire dragon attacks now, Tang Xiaofan is not afraid. The warrior team is not only capable of fighting, but also has a great probability of slaying the dragon. The farmer factory has been upgraded to level 3. If it can continue to upgrade to level 4, will special talents such as scientists or snipers be born? In this battle, if there is a rich combination of arms, the harvest may be faster. The fertilizer bombs and Molotov cocktails in the warehouse are not the best time to use them. We have to wait for tomorrow's beast tide to give these monsters a heavy blow. It would be best to seriously injure a group of monsters, let them escape back to their nests, and spread the horror of the black technology castle. With the disappearance of the protective shield in this small battle, Tang Xiaofan has seen the dawn of forming a farmer's army. He is in a good mood. Jarvis, keep an eye on the progress of the metal lab. Yes, sir. At this time, Tang Xiaofan turned his head and looked at the dense forest in the distance. The dense forest had calmed down. There were no shaking trees, no roaring monsters, no blue starlight, and it became dead silent again. This was good. He felt that at least tonight, there should be no wild monsters coming to die. Everyone could have a good sleep. Chapter 80 Post-War Harvest Statistics. Nang Yi and his companions roughly counted the monster corpses on the battlefield. There were about 3,800 of them, including about 20 commander level wild monsters and more than 500 elite monsters. If so many monsters attacked, other castle lords would have been captured long ago, and the castle would have been razed to the ground and turned into a ruin. Only his warrior team could withstand such an attack, and it was easy and effortless. In fact, from beginning to end, the wild monsters were not able to get within 100 meters of the castle's outer wall, and were all blocked on the battlefield 100 meters away. Piles of monster corpses surrounded his castle in a ring. The blinding blood flowed in the open space, and there were night owls screaming in the distant mountains and forests, but they did not dare to approach. The blood moon set in the west, and the forest became even quieter. The first late night after the end of the novice protection period was about to pass, and hundreds of castle lords finally witnessed the cruelty of the night on the god and demon continent. But as long as the night fades, the first rays of dawn after the blood moon sets in the west will bring hope. Everyone, take the time to rest, and leave someone to keep watch. Tomorrow's beast tide will be much more serious than today's appetizer. Everyone take the time to rest. Yes, Lord. The other farmers had already prepared food and hot water. The soldiers who were fighting lined up in the automatic manipulator workshop to take off their armor, then took a hot shower, and then came out to eat. Those who had eaten went to bed after washing up. Now that there are more people, the farmhouse has been replaced by Tang Xiaofan's dormitory building. Otherwise, the farmhouse relying on the system would not be able to fit in this small city. Looking at the orderly team, Tang Xiaofan opened a friend column and contacted the little lolly in the underground world. Kenna, how is the situation over there? Tang Xiaofan had never been to the underground world and was not familiar with the world ruled by dark creatures. He only heard about it roughly from the little lolly. Compared with the surface world, the underground world seems to be more cruel, with countless dark creatures and groups of undead creatures. It is a paradise for evil races. The little girl received Tang Xiaofan's message and quickly replied, Tang Xiaofan, Kenna successfully resisted the wild monsters. Uncle Xavier and his men are cleaning up the battlefield, and the castle is safe and sound. But many dark Iron Dwarf warriors died. Tang Xiaofan shook his head helplessly. Where is there no death in war? Even his farmers, if they didn't have armor in the battle just now, they might have been killed and wounded. After chatting with the little girl for a few more words and encouraging her, Tang Xiaofan turned off the friend message. It was already 3 or 4 in the morning, and he was very sleepy. However, he did not go to rest. The air was filled with a strong smell of blood. This was his first night without protection. Fear and excitement intertwined, making it difficult for him to fall asleep. Some farmers were collecting soulstones, equipment, and drawings dropped from wild monsters. In this castle defense battle, Tang Xiaofan gained a lot. First of all, he gained a lot of soulstones, and secondly, he gained equipment and blueprints. After all, there were about 20 commander level wild monsters invading the black technology castle, and more than 500 elite monsters. It was normal to have a big harvest. Soon, the statistics of the spoils were handed over to Tang Xiaofan. Seeing so many resources, his breathing gradually became rapid. It's really a big harvest. It was about 4 o'clock in the morning. Tang Xiaofan had almost stayed up all night and was very sleepy. But looking at the spoils piled in front of him, his sleepiness and fatigue disappeared instantly. The spoils were divided into 3 categories: soulstones, equipment, and blueprints. At this time, Tang Xiaofan was excited and could not calm down because the harvest was really too big. There were nearly 1,000 soulstones alone. Soulstones are necessary items for upgrading military buildings. His farmer factory is currently at level 3, and it takes 5,000 soulstones to upgrade to level 4. In other words, with just this one battle, his farmer factory upgrade path has almost crossed 1/5. I had a reserve of soulstones before. With this harvest, the reserve of soulstones has reached 2,240. It is only about half of the upgrade requirement of 5,000 soulstones. This is a very big breakthrough. Tang Xiaofan originally thought that it would take a long time for the farmer factory to upgrade to level 4, at least 10 days and a half months. But now it seems that the progress is faster than he imagined. If there are 2 or 3 more castle defense battles of this scale, his soulstone reserve will meet the upgrades of the farmer factory. In addition to the great harvest of soulstones, we also harvested a lot of equipment. 14 low-level equipment. 14 low-level equipment can sell a lot of resources. Now it just disappeared after the protective shield was hit. The next step is the beast tide. Many people should understand the importance of equipment, and they will definitely spend a lot of money to smash it. To be honest, such an equipment explosion rate is not enough to satisfy Tang Xiaofan. You know, the second elite monster killed by his warrior team exploded with equipment. In this castle defense battle, the number of elite monsters participating reached more than 500, and there were also 20 commander level monsters and an 18th level lord level monster. As a result, only 14 low-level equipment were dropped. It was not ideal. Could it be that the overall drop rate was reduced because the strength of the warriors had increased and the level of the monsters had not changed? Tang Xiaofan could only think so. Otherwise, there was no other explanation. After thinking about it, Tang Xiaofan opened the friend column and contacted the little Lalita in the underground world. Tang Xiaofan, how many pieces of equipment did you get? Little Lalita, well, let me count, only a dozen. Tang Xiaofan breathed a sigh of relief. This shows that his luck value is still online. Just when he was about to close the friend message, he replied inexplicably, how many elite and commander level wild monsters are there on your side? A lot, the little lolly replied. It seems that there are more than 20 elite monsters, and there are also 3 commander level monsters. If it weren't for Uncle Xavier, Kenna's castle would not be able to stop it. Tang Xiaofan, those monsters are too scary. It's okay, they are all over. Go to bed early. Tang Xiaofan silently closed the friend message box. He was silent for a long time. In the end, all the negative energy in his heart turned into a long sigh. Sure enough, compared with the little lolly in the underground world, even he had to stand aside in luck. His warrior team killed so many elite, command level and even lord level monsters, but in the end only 14 pieces of equipment were exploded. On the little Lala's side, the number of monsters killed was less than 1/10 of his, but the number of equipment was almost the same. The favored one of the goddess of luck. This luck is so strong that it is unreasonable. Chapter 81 Construction of New Buildings. Tang Xiaofan did not ask how many blueprints the little girl had revealed, for he was afraid of being hit again. He himself had obtained 3 blueprints. If it were before, he would have been very happy and satisfied. But now, Tang Xiaofan always felt that his efforts were not proportional to his gains. He shook his head and stopped thinking about it. Then he picked up the 3 blue blueprints. Unknown blueprints found. Do you want to identify? Yes. No. Identify. The 3 blueprints were each covered with an identification light. After a while, the identification light disappeared, and the 3 blueprints all revealed their true colors. The first one, low-level building blueprint, barber shop, construction requirements, primary town, effect, Slightly improve the loyalty of castle residents. The second one, intermediate building blueprint, diplomatic hall, construction requirements, influence range greater than 10 kilometers effect. Improve the loyalty of castle residents. Effect. Increase the active cooperation probability of local intelligent creatures. The third one, intermediate building blueprint, shop, construction requirements, mint. Effect. Improve the loyalty of castle residents. Effect. Conduct business cooperation with a local intelligent creature. Force at random every day. Looking at the 3 blueprints in his hand, Tang Xiaofan suddenly felt a little numb. None of the 3 blueprints were high-level blueprints. Even a low-level bloodline evolution blueprint would be fine. As a result, all 3 were basic building blueprints for the castle. 1 low-level and 2 intermediate. These 3 building blueprints are to improve the loyalty of castle residents. This is very useful for other castle lords, but it can only be said to be dispensable for Tang Xiaofan, because his soldiers, the peasants, have a constant loyalty to him of 100 points, which is in a die-hard, fanatical state, and can neither be lowered nor raised. 100 points of loyalty is already the highest value. I can only say, it's better to have it than not to have it. Tang Xiaofan does not intend to sell these blueprints, although he believes that these 3 blueprints can be sold at a high price. His castle has an influence of 18 kilometers, and the direct territory is 2 kilometers. There is an open space with no trees or anything blocking it with the castle as the center. The barber shop and a diplomatic embassy can be built. Make his direct territory look less empty. Moreover, he has now upgraded to a town, and the newly added temples, primary dormitories, elementary schools, theaters, taverns, libraries, and hospitals have not been built yet. Once these buildings are built, especially after the primary dormitories are built, the empty space in the city will be filled. Moreover, these buildings can also allow those farmers to have some entertainment life. Otherwise the farmers are like a bow, which is always tight and easy to break. Now with these entertainment facilities, farmers and soldiers can spend their leisure time easily after relaxing. With dormitories, diplomatic embassies, and walls, his black technology town really looks like a town. How can you tell it is a town with just a castle, a warehouse, and a metal laboratory? In fact, basic buildings don't seem to be of much use to me, but it is also necessary. This is the basic infrastructure of the territory and is indispensable. Later, his black technology city will be magnificent, and countless farmers will live in the city. What would it look like if there was only a bare castle? Tang Xiaofan took out a blue drawing. The first thing he built was a barber shop. With the disappearance of some building materials in the warehouse, a 2-story barber shop appeared near the city wall. This small building is a typical 1990s style, with exaggerated signs and barber shop light boxes, which are very eye-catching. Soon, 2 idle farmers walked in and turned into barbers. Tang Xiaofan took the lead as the first customer and experienced the service of the barber shop. Looking at the dazzling array of hairstyles and color combinations, Tang Xiaofan couldn't help but sigh. Jarvis, such advanced technology handles the details of life so well. Yes, sir, this level of technology is difficult to reproduce, especially at the civilian level, which shows that the level of technology here is very high. Tang Xiaofan nodded and picked a hairstyle he liked, which was slightly grayish white. Then he heard the barber's honest voice. My lord, thank you for your patronage. It's done. Looking at the handsome young man in the mirror, he nodded with satisfaction. After leaving the barber shop, he chose another vacant land and built a diplomatic hall. After a boom, a 3-story building rose from the ground. Several farmers walked in automatically and started working. Tang Xiaofan walked in and found that it was a traditional office inside. There was an office with the word diplomat written on it. Pushing open the door, he saw a farmer sitting at his desk, looking at the map on the table. Lord, Tang Xiaofan signaled the diplomat to be patient. He looked at the map, which showed the name of the diplomatic situation map. Currently, only one local force has maintained a subordinate relationship with us. Subordinate forces need to hand over resources regularly? Tang Xiaofan saw the information displayed on the map and asked. Yes, Lord, all subordinate forces need to hand over resources in exchange for our rule over them. Okay, Tang Xiaofan nodded. He liked such a domineering diplomatic tone. Our rule is very precious. After visiting the 2 new buildings, Tang Xiaofan asked Jianai, who was with him, to build the other buildings in the inner city tomorrow. After the construction was completed, the remaining vacant land was built into dormitories. After arranging the work, Tang Xiaofan walked up to the city wall and looked at the city wall under his feet. He felt that the city wall had made a contribution today. It seemed very difficult for ordinary elite monsters to destroy it and kill into the castle's territory with the cooperation of machine guns. Moreover, the defensive capability of the city wall is much stronger than that of the fence. The appearance of the wall made the whole battle very easy, and he couldn't help but feel a sense of security in his heart. This was caused by a specific environment and had nothing to do with whether the warrior team could protect him. A person facing an empty flatland and facing a world surrounded by a 5-meter high wall are 2 different mentalities. At this time, the world has become quiet. The light of the blood moon gradually faded, moving towards the trajectory of the west. Tang Xiaofan yawned and returned to the bedroom on the top floor of the castle. This night, he was really too tired. The castle's protective shield disappeared, and nearly 2,000 wild monsters invaded his castle. He also witnessed the battle in person, watching countless monsters die around the castle. The tension and excitement intertwined, and he finally felt physically and mentally exhausted. After taking a shower, Tang Xiaofan fell asleep on the bed. Tonight, he was destined to sleep soundly, because the stone hanging in his heart was finally put down. He knew that he had embarked on the road to conquering all races. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 82, Summary of the Castle Defense. The time of the God and Demon continent is the same as that of Blue Star. At this moment, it is also late at night on Blue Star. However, there are still netizens on Blue Star who are watching Tang Xiaofan's live broadcast non-stop. It has been confirmed that the players from Dragon Country performed the most exaggeratedly this time, with 0 casualties and all monsters destroyed. That's right, don't you see that boss Tang Xiaofan has already built a city wall? Have you seen this thing in other players' castles? That's right. I also found one of the most important characteristics of Tang Xiaofan. His equipment is all self-made. That's right. I have watched players from no less than 150 countries, and the player from Dragon Country is the most special one. Other players are developing step by step, while the players from Dragon Country have begun to build their own country. Yes, this town of more than 1,000 people can simply crush all other forces. I'm afraid that his army will reach tens of thousands in the future. Oh my god. Have you ever thought about it? If these armors can fly, then this continent of gods and demons will all be the territory of boss Tang Xiaofan. Impossible. The armor is so heavy, how can it fly? It's absolutely impossible. That's right, you are too whimsical. I don't know how long I slept. Tang Xiaofan suddenly woke up. He looked out the window. The sky was still a little dim, but the morning light had begun to illuminate the world. I only slept for more than 2 hours. Tang Xiaofan was a little helpless. It seemed that his body's biological clock had been set, and he would wake up at this time every day. Although he was still a little tired, Tang Xiaofan couldn't fall asleep. He got up to wash up, then had a hearty breakfast, and then opened the trading channel. It was a new day, and the trading area was very hot. At a glance, it was densely packed with food on the shelves, as well as monster materials and other things. Many of them were large transactions. There were so many castle lords who put thousands of units of food on the shelves at one time that it was incredible. This had never happened before. Even Tang Xiaofan had only put 2,000 or 3,000 units of food on the shelves at most. Obviously, this was the harvest of the battle this morning. The castles of hundreds of castle lords were attacked by groups of wild monsters at the moment when the protective shield disappeared. The battle was tragic. I don't know how many castle lords died, but the castle lords who survived must have also reaped a great harvest. The food collected from wild monsters could not be eaten in a short time, so they were sold. Unfortunately, no castle lord was short of food. At least not in the short term. so the food they put on the shelf was not popular. Some monster materials showed signs of being exchanged. This attracted Tang Xiaofan's attention. I guess someone leaked the blueprints of the equipment refinery shop during the castle defense battle. They are buying monster materials at a low price to make equipment. This is not good news. My castle power is developing. The power of other castle lords is also developing. Basic buildings such as equipment refinery shops will become popular sooner or later, and this cannot be stopped. Tang Xiaofan thought for a moment, and didn't care too much. This piece of cake is very big, and he can't eat it all by himself. For a long time, the castle lords who own equipment refinery shops can't affect his income in the field of standard equipment. What's more, this is not all bad. The struggle between castle lords is secondary after all. Their biggest enemy is actually the local forces of the god and demon continent. The development of other castle forces can also reduce his pressure when facing local forces in the future. As for the struggle between castle lords, Tang Xiaofan is not worried. He has always been ahead of all castle lords, and he is confident that he will continue to lead. Tang Xiaofan looked at the lively trading area, and his heart moved, so he couldn't help but get involved. A full 23,000 units of food were directly put on the shelves, including 4,000 units of elite level food, 300 units of commander level food, and 20 units of 18th level lord level food. These special foods that can increase energy values are all sold at high prices. Ordinary food is not popular, but special food still has market demand. In addition, the monster materials he collected were packaged and sent to the little Lali in the underground world to create standard equipment. The little Lal is black and dwarf has low combat effectiveness, but it is professional in the field of creating equipment. Tang Xiaofan took a look at his castle warehouse. The construction of various houses and buildings before consumed some of the materials. Now there are still 161,900 units of wood, 83,640 units of stone, and 28,200 units of refined iron. As for the soul stone, he stored it in the Cyclops ring. He was used to keeping this kind of rare material by his side. Then he went out and walked around the city to see the progress of the project. Because it was not the first time to build, many buildings needed architects to build them brick by brick. Looking at the busy construction site, Tang Xiaofan was a little dazed and felt like he was back to the time of Blue Star. Dragon Country was developing rapidly, and buildings and roads were being built everywhere. Building roads. Yes, if you want to be rich, build roads first. Jarvis, we need to develop a means of transportation to transport resources for the farmers. Yes, sir, you are right. But according to my database, I suggest using air transportation. But the capacity of this solution is not high. The second is the land armored transport vehicle. Although this solution has strong capacity, it is vulnerable to attack. Tang Xiaofan thought about it and said, make prototypes for both solutions first, and then we will see the effect. Yes, sir. However, these production factories are large enterprises with a large area of land, and they need independent space to start production. Yes, the city is now full, and it is time to start building a satellite city. Tang Xiaofan asked Jarvis to make a good plan, and asked Jianai to get the plan, and prepare to start construction after the beast died. Looking at the construction site, Tang Xiaofan opened the world chat channel. The chat channel was still lively, as if it was not affected by the castle defense war at all. There are still a lot of castle lords chatting inside. It's a big loss. I lost a full 40 soldiers before I wiped out those violent monsters. What's 40 soldiers? I only have 3 great swordsmen left, and my soldiers are almost wiped out. It's good to be alive. Soldiers can be summoned even if they die. As long as people are alive, it's good news. A good friend I made 2 days ago was lucky enough to get the advanced soldier harpy by chance. He is very powerful, but when I looked at the friend column today, he disappeared. Even the advanced soldiers couldn't stop him. Too many castle lords died in the castle guard battle. I estimate that at least hundreds of people were eliminated. Chapter 83, A Little Regret in the Black Technology Castle. This is just the beginning. Don't doubt that more and more castle lords will fall in the future, because this is a death game. If we want to gain a foothold in this world, we can only fight hard. Brothers and sisters, don't be discouraged. The early stages are always difficult. We must remember those who have passed away, and will never forget them. The living must keep moving forward. We are the lords of the castle, the chosen ones. As long as you give us time, we can grow up. What are wild monsters? Our opponents are the local forces of the continent of gods and demons. You have a lot of words, and you are right. In fact, you are not wrong. Our goal is to dominate all races and let the castle forces rule this vast and boundless alien world. I believe that one day, this world will belong to us. The living lord of the castle. Everyone is a god. I hope this era will come soon. Boss, I think it is more important to take care of the things in front of us. The beast tide may attack at any time. Someone made a bleak speech on the world chat channel, which made the atmosphere that had just been heated up suddenly cool down, and everyone's heart was cold in an instant. The castle lord seemed to have just realized that the castle defense battle seemed to be just an appetizer after the protective shield disappeared, and the main course of the beast tide had not yet been served. Damn it. Who mentioned the beast tide? Drag them out and kill them. My mentality exploded instantly. Can't I continue to immerse myself in the joy of victory? Even if I can enjoy it for one more minute, why do you remind me that there is still a beast tide? I have blocked that guy. Transmitting negative energy. Block him. The world chat channel was in chaos, and many people were denouncing and venting their negative emotions. The appetizer was so cruel. How cruel would the beast tide be? The castle lords didn't want to think about it, because as long as they thought about it, their mentality would explode, and their scalps would numb. Tang Xiaofan didn't think about it either. He was not afraid of the beast tide. With the current strength of the Black Technology Castle, it was not difficult to survive the beast tide crisis. After closing the world chat channel, Tang Xiaofan came to the courtyard of the castle. The town has entered a state of bustling work. The farmers saw Tang Xiaofan with respect and enthusiasm. Tang Xiaofan smiled and nodded at them. Then he looked at the farmers who were queuing up for haircuts and baths, and understood in his heart that everyone really needed to relax. The temple, primary dormitory, elementary school, theater, tavern, library, and hospital have all been built. The professional construction workers are indeed powerful. The temple is easy to say. There is a portrait of Tang Xiaofan enshrined in it. All the farmers regard Tang Xiaofan as the lord, worshipping and praying. There is a priest who is responsible for taking care of the temple. The elementary school is more embarrassing. The students are all big and strong men, and they are taught daily addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. A 3-meter tall man who was comparable to O'Neill, holding a palm-sized textbook, said to the students, "You all have to study hard. If you don't study well, you will be beaten to death. Let's review. 1 + 2 = 3. 1 + 2 = 3. Staggering out of the elementary school, Tang Xiaofan wanted to laugh but couldn't. Learning always has to be gradual. Fortunately, these farmers have no diplomas, and everyone has to get a primary school graduation certificate. Therefore, Jarvis arranged learning tasks for all farmers, and they came to class on time. The theater was much more lively. More than a dozen farmers became actors. They performed a drama. Seeing the big and strong man shyly playing the role of a woman, calling himself a master in a coquettish way, Tang Xiaofan resisted the urge to hit him, and ran out quickly. "Jarvis, our castle has a fatal problem. Have you noticed? Sir, we are developing very well. It's thriving." Tang Xiaofan walked on the already prosperous street and headed towards the tavern, shaking his head and said, "No, we lack women. This is a male-only military camp, and there are no women in all the entertainment. It feels like something is missing." "Yes, sir. But there are no female farmers to summon." "Sir, maybe there may be some, if we continue to upgrade the farmer factory." Tang Xiaofan nodded, pushed the door, and walked into the tavern. The place is now bustling with people, and most of the people are just chatting or killing time. Tang Xiaofan found an empty seat at the bar and sat down. The bartender brought a glass of whiskey with a round ice ball. "No, I don't drink. Give me some bubble tea." "Sorry, Lord, there is none." "Then give me a glass of fat water." "Sorry, Lord, there is none either." Tang Xiaofan turned away helplessly, complaining to Jarvis, "It seems that we have to speed up the upgrading of the town. Life without fat water is too difficult." "Sir, this may not be available, but I have the formula of all fat water, but there is no suitable raw material for production at present." Well, Tang Xiaofan then went to see the library and the hospital. Just like Blue Star, people who like to read books are always a minority, even though the books here can be said to be very rich. From the production formula of the blacksmith shop to the design drawings of the weapons workshop, there is everything. No one comes to the hospital now. Not only are the farmers unscathed on the battlefield, but they don't even have the most common cold, which makes the burly doctor holding a small stethoscope look regretful. Looking at the sparse crowd, Tang Xiaofan turned and went to the Metal Research Institute. He wanted to know how the progress of the element he cares about most is. "Lord, you are here." Nang Yi, as the earliest farmer to follow Tang Xiaofan, has now changed into a white coat, cut his hair into a crew cut, and is now the boss of the metal laboratory. "Oh, Nang Yi, not bad. How is the progress?" "Lord, now we can only slowly advance the research progress. All positions need to be kept on duty continuously. According to the arrangement of Lord Jarvis, I have transferred 30 people to take turns on duty to ensure that the research and development is completed according to the schedule." Tang Xiaofan had no choice but to nod his head to show encouragement. He looked at a reactor isolation room in the building that was emitting blue light. Through the transparent glass, he saw that the light was constantly flashing inside, and the monitor at the door showed the progress, 26%. Fortunately, it's okay as long as it can be done. As long as this metal laboratory can operate normally, it doesn't matter if it's a little slow. When the farmer factory is upgraded later, it is estimated that senior farmers can be recruited. By the way, he called Nang Yi out and asked in a low voice, "Do you think something is missing in the city?" "Us. The Lord's castle is perfect." "No, I mean, is there something missing?" "No, the Lord's castle is perfect." Tang Xiaofan had no choice but to let him go about his business. It seemed that it was redundant for him to ask the farmers under him. After all, they were all summoned by the farmer factory. With their loyalty at full capacity, it would be impossible for them to express their dissatisfaction. Chapter 84, sending a team to eliminate the disobedient people. After finishing his stroll, Tang Xiaofan met Zhan Yi, who came to ask for a fight. Zhan Yi said to Tang Xiaofan respectfully, "My lord, I apply to lead the warrior team to go out hunting." Tang Xiaofan nodded in agreement. "Okay. Let's go and see the source of the beast tide." After a pause, Tang Xiaofan said again, "When hunting, investigate the castle 18 kilometers away. See if it has been destroyed by monsters. If it still exists, then capture it." After all, the castle's novice protection shield has disappeared, and Tang Xiaofan will naturally not let the guy who dared to covet Mark's armor go. And there is no sign of the beast tide coming yet, so let his warrior team send that guy off. Since you want to capture his farmer, you have to pay the price. What's more, the distance between the two castles is too close, and the spheres of influence are almost bordering. Even if there is no war now, there will be war in the future. This is inevitable. Instead of waiting for friction to occur when the other party becomes stronger in the future, it is better to start early to prevent the larger scale castle war that may appear later. After getting rid of that guy's castle forces, the surrounding dense forest will belong to Tang Xiaofan. His warrior team can hunt wild monsters in this area without being disturbed. "Yes, Lord." The warriors will naturally not refuse Tang Xiaofan's orders. They faithfully execute every order of Tang Xiaofan. Even if Tang Xiaofan orders them to hunt gods now, they will go to battle without hesitation. At this time, Zhan Yi said, "Lord, if all members are dispatched, the Black Technology Castle may lose its absolute defensibility. Do you need to send a team of warriors to guard the castle?" "Guard the castle?" Tang Xiaofan felt that this was indeed a problem. The walls of the castle can resist wild monsters or beasts, but the sky above the castle has no defensibility. If wild monsters such as birds attack the Black Technology Castle, they will drive straight in. It is not safe for him to stay in the castle alone. What Tang Xiaofan is most vigilant about is the attack of the Fire Dragon. His current level of the peak of level 7 is far from being the opponent of an adult Fire Dragon. Tang Xiaofan thought about it. He looked at Zhana and said, "Zhana, you stay and guard the Black Technology Castle. You take 500 warriors to form the second warrior group. Zhang Yi, you lead 500 people to form the first warrior group. Yes, my lord. Zhang Yi and Zhena obeyed respectfully. The two men distributed the warriors and divided the 1,000-man team into two teams. One team of warriors, led by Zhang Yi, left the castle. Tang Xiaofan looked at their backs as they left and sighed inexplicably. Now, he has more and more warriors under his command. He already has 1,000 warriors in Mark armor, and the blacksmith shop is still forging new Mark II armor. This set of armor will become the main armor for a period of time in the future, and these warriors wearing armor will become the iron fist in his hand that sweeps everything. The strength of the warrior team is not weak. At least when facing the world's top creatures, they have the power to fight, and the winning rate is still very high. Of course, Tang Xiaofan had considered going out hunting with the warrior team. He was currently at the peak of level 7, and was protected by the Mark II armor. His safety was not a problem, and would not affect the hunting efficiency of the warrior team. However, the safety of the Black Technology Castle was a problem. He needed to stay behind, to prevent monsters from raiding his lair. If there were wild monsters or other enemies who took advantage of his empty lair to break into the heart of the castle, his efforts during this period would be in vain. Therefore, guarding the castle was the top priority. But at present, even if we encounter a beast tide, we don't need to immediately recall the warrior team. The warrior team will go hunting far away from the castle's sphere of influence in the future. The key is that once they are equipped with the arc reactor, their flying speed is extremely fast, and they can rush back quickly even in an emergency. Thinking of this, Tang Xiaofan was much more relaxed. He looked at Zhena who was guarding him. Zhena's figure was slightly shorter than Tang Xiaofan's, but his powerful muscles still made the Mark armor look particularly ferocious. Lord. Zhena was a little confused. He thought Tang Xiaofan had some instructions. Tang Xiaofan asked, Zhena, this time you protect the Black Technology Castle. Let Zhang Yi and the others take your place next time. Zhena said respectfully, everything is subject to the Lord's arrangement. At this time, he took a look at the Cyclops ring he was wearing close to his body. The soul stones in it were still growing slowly. I wonder if Zhang Yi and the others can bring back new soul stones this time, to upgrade the farmer's factory as soon as possible. At this moment, the wind was calm and the clouds were light, and there was nothing to do. Accompanied by Zhena, Tang Xiaofan visited the newly built dormitory. The dormitory was built into a room for 4 people, similar to the traditional corporate dormitory, with a shared toilet and shower room. As for the washing of clothes, it was still the old way, to use the small bug of the system to replace new clothes. Fortunately, no farmers now pursue personalized clothing, they all wear uniforms. But Tang Xiaofan was happy that he found that the farmers had personal belongings. Some of them raised small flowers, and some of them raised small pets. He didn't show any likes or dislikes about these things. At least he understood that these farmers were living people, and it was not wrong to provide them with benefits. After leaving the dormitory, he climbed to the top floor of the castle, and looked out at the dense forest in the distance. However, he could not see anything. There were only flying birds and breeze in the dense forest, and everything looked so peaceful. Tang Xiaofan asked Zhena, I wonder if that guy's castle still exists. Did he survive the monster outbreak yesterday? Don't worry, Lord. Zhena said, even if that guy resisted the monster riot in the early morning, your warrior group can still destroy his castle and make him disappear from this world. The disloyal must be eliminated. Zhena was very confident about this, and so was Tang Xiaofan. The warrior group might not be able to break through a large local force, but it was still easy to destroy a castle that was not as good as their own. Of course, he also knew that this castle battle would most likely expose the secret of Mark armor to other castle lords. Mark armor, invincible armor. If other castle lords knew, they would be very surprised, right? Tang Xiaofan shook his head and didn't care. This secret will eventually be known, just sooner or later. Didn't the castle lords always want to know what kind of soldiers he was? If the secret of Mark armor was exposed, who knows what expressions those top castle lords who wanted to surpass him would have. On the way to the other side's castle, the warriors encountered several waves of beasts. Soon the battle was over. The warriors were cleaning the battlefield and collecting the soul stones dropped by the monsters. There were dozens of wild monster corpses piled up together. This was the harvest of the warrior team's clearing of the surrounding thousands of meters of dense forest. Compared with before, this number was a bit less. Chapter 85, The Evil and Twisted Evil God Attacks. This is directly related to the castle defense battle in the early morning. In the battle, nearly 3,000 wild monsters were killed, which naturally reduced the number of wild monsters in the nearby dense forest. If you want to encounter a large group of monsters, you have to stay away from the sphere of influence of the Black Technology Town. However, the warriors did not do this. After sending the spoils back to the castle, they gathered and marched to the enemy castle several kilometers away. While hunting monsters, some warriors went to investigate first. The castle did not become a ruin, and there were still figures walking inside and outside the castle. Obviously, the other party successfully defeated the monster riot in the early morning. This is the gathering place of the traitors. By the order of the Lord, destroy it. Soon, the warriors came to the outside of the castle. It was obviously a high-level castle with a fence around it. Nowadays, there are more and more players with high-level castles, which is not uncommon. But for the warriors, defensive buildings such as fences are useless. But surprisingly, there are several arrow towers nearly 10 meters high standing around this castle. There are 1 or 2 human soldiers holding bows and arrows in each arrow tower. It can be seen that the owner of this castle has gained a lot in the battle to defend against the monster outbreak. What a damn bad luck. The army team that was finally expanded has lost half of it in a blink of an eye. In the castle, some time ago, his warrior level army team encountered the Mecha demon and was directly wiped out. Fortunately, since that annihilation, he has worked hard to recruit and hunt during this time. His army team has gradually expanded again and is even stronger than before. But the battle in the early morning of yesterday dealt him another heavy blow. Among his army, the weaker militiamen died cleanly. Now there are only about 20 champion swordsman level soldiers left. This wave is a blood loss. However, the appearance of the 2 blueprints gave him great comfort. He felt that he was not destined to die. Even if there was an upcoming beast tide event, he had the confidence to pass it. I don't know where the demon has gone. There is really no news until now. The young man suffered a great loss last time and wanted to take revenge, and he was looking forward to killing the demon. If he could really get the artifact, he would be rich by then, let alone surpassing those top castle lords who were always boasting in the world chat channel. He was very confident that he could even surpass Tang Xiaofan, who was known as the strongest castle lord. The demon was his great opportunity to change his fate. No hurry. Let the demon live a little longer for now. Wait until I get through the beast tide crisis and the castle power is strengthened again. Then go find the demon. The young man was confident about getting the artifact. In his opinion, as long as evil creatures like demons were killed, they would definitely be rewarded. Not only did he think so, but many other castle lords also thought so. After all, demons were legendary creatures from hell. In the game, they were the big bosses pushed by the group. But no one knew that the demons in the forest were not from hell, but the soldiers under Tang Xiaofan. The young man didn't know either. If he knew, he would definitely run away with the heart of the castle. He would never be a neighbor of Tang Xiaofan again. Unfortunately, it's too late to say anything now. Just when the young man was about to lead the team out hunting, he suddenly heard someone shouting outside. It was the voice of the captain of his champion swordsman team, and he was very familiar with it. Enemy attack? Is there another group of wild monsters coming to attack my castle? The young man was not afraid, but excited. Today is different from the past. Although the number of soldiers under his command has decreased, the castle has more defensive buildings, fences, and arrow towers. In addition, the castle's garrison has increased instead of decreased. God is really blessing me. Assemble quickly and guard the castle. The young man shouted excitedly. The soldiers in the castle quickly assembled, with a total of more than 20 champion swordsmen. In addition, there was a group of militiamen wearing simple equipment. These militiamen were all level 2 and were summoned by the young man this morning, which was equivalent to nothing. The young man put on the mid-level equipment he had bought and quickly went to the top floor of the castle to look outside. However, he found that there was no trace of wild monsters outside the castle. The young man was stunned for a moment, and then he shouted at his champion swordsman captain, "What the hell are you shouting about? Enemy attack? Tell me, where are the enemies?" The champion swordsman captain had a serious expression, and pointed to the distance. "Lord, the enemy is there." Huh. The young man looked up. In an instant, his expression changed, from stiff to twisted, and finally turned into a face of horror. How is it possible? He widened his eyes, and couldn't believe it. Because a large group of demons suddenly appeared in the height not far away. Yes, a large group! Exclamation mark. He had imagined the scene of exploding demons countless times in his mind, but he didn't expect it to be like this today. Leading were 3 demons, the strongest of whom reached the peak of level 18, and behind them were countless demons. They were all wearing silver armor, all holding huge axes, and strolling towards his castle. Zenon rubbed his eyes fiercely, suspecting that he was hallucinating. He couldn't believe how so many demons suddenly appeared, and the target was his castle. Has the forest been invaded by demons? Why have the other castle lords in the forest never seen demons except me? The young man didn't understand. Was he too lucky or just unlucky? Suddenly, he was sure that he was unlucky. The last demon he met had caused him heavy losses. Now the demons have returned and brought countless companions with them, and they must be going to destroy his castle. The young man suddenly felt his body trembling and his legs weakening. His intuition told him that he was finished. With his current strength, it was impossible for him to resist this group of demons. Moreover, the demons came today, which meant that they knew that the protective shield had disappeared. The fence was useless in the face of powerful demons. How could a few arrow towers threaten a whole team of armored demons? He was in big trouble. It was even possible that this day next year would be his death anniversary, but he didn't want to sit and wait for death. He wanted to struggle. So he mustered up his courage and shouted, "Demons from hell, evil and twisted peasants of the evil god. Please put down your weapons. We are not enemies." Hearing these vicious words, Zanyi and others were furious. How dare they slander the Lord? Unforgivable. Despicable reptile. Deep in your heart, I see despicable ambitions. Only death can save you. A barrage of bullets came down and directly blew up an arrow tower behind the fence. The 2 archers in the arrow tower died on the spot and fell from the air. The young man's face changed drastically. The last time he met a demon, he was killed by the opponent's machine gun. A group of champion swordsmen. Definitely can't beat it. He was about to beg for mercy, but then, his eyes revealed a strong disbelief. Because at the same time, he received a message prompt. Your castle is attacked by the enemy castle forces. Please respond as soon as possible. Chapter 86. A battle of crushing the weak with the strong. In the Blue Star Live broadcast room, Tang Xiaofan's attack caused the netizens of Sweet Potato Country and Dragon Country to quarrel. It's so unfair. Dragon Country is bullying others. That's right, the big bull is the small. How can the small country of Sweet Potato Country let Dragon Country bully us like this? Blue Star is fair. Bullshit. The netizens of Blue Star are not vegetarians. Those who have experienced the Great Emperor's Sea Voyage, their online combat power is definitely the tyrant of Blue Star. If the continent of gods and demons is a competition of troll firepower, Dragon Country would have unified the world long ago. The players from Dragon Country and Sweet Potato Country came to the god and demon continent together, and everyone has the same foundation for development. In this way, Tang Xiaofan is the one who suffers. Moreover, the players from Sweet Potato Country took the initiative to provoke Tang Xiaofan's farmer, which is a way to kill themselves. Is that a farmer? Is that a farmer? That's a real demon. A mecha demon. It's a farmer. That's called an exoskeleton. Okay. If you don't understand, don't talk nonsense. Exoskeleton? Do you think I don't know about exoskeletons? Tang Xiaofan's so-called exoskeleton can beat the global military of Blue Star. Everyone, please don't go off topic. Sweet Potato Country will definitely suffer 1,000 times the punishment. It's what they deserve. Emigrate quickly. The door of Dragon Country has always been closed. Sweet Potato Country has always been at odds with Dragon Country, and this time it's a blow. After expressing their condolences to Sweet Potato Country, netizens from Dragon Country excitedly watched the live broadcast of Tang Xiaofan's team knocking down the castle of the players from Sweet Potato Country. The young man from Sweet Potato Country had a distorted expression, and he was completely stunned. He expressed disbelief at the sudden message prompt. Including himself, all the castle lords now believe that the demons that appeared in the forest are either native creatures of the god and demon continent or creatures from hell. Because the level of the demons is too high, whether it is Western fantasy novels or movies, demons are the big bosses in the later stages, and they are definitely extremely difficult to defeat. So no one has linked the demons in the forest with the castle troops. After all, compared to demons, natural elves, Medusa, Death Knights, Thunder Giants, etc., this kind of top troops seem to be a level lower. What are top troops? Those are the troops that stand at the top. How could there be demons that surpass the top troops? This is impossible. Otherwise, the other castle lords would not be able to survive at all. But now he was stunned, his expression filled with a strong sense of disbelief. He received a message prompt that his castle was attacked by the enemy castle forces. Enemy castle forces? From the time he descended to the present, he had never made enemies with other castle lords, and he had never even met them. How could he be attacked? Moreover, the only ones attacking his castle now were the group of demons that appeared outside the castle. A demon that seemed to be the leader raised his hand and fired a burst of machine gun fire, destroying an arrow tower of his castle and killing 2 of his archers. At the same time, a message prompt of being attacked appeared. Combining all the signs, it only means one thing: these demons outside the castle are not from hell at all, nor are they native creatures of the god and demon continent. They are the troops under the command of a certain castle lord. The young man suddenly realized. At the beginning, he coveted the demon he met by chance and wanted to capture it. This directly offended the castle lord behind the demon, and he was remembered. Now that the castle's protective shield has disappeared, the castle lord decisively dispatched the demon team to attack his castle. They are here to seek revenge on him. How is this possible? The young man shouted out in disbelief. How is it possible? Whose luck was so abnormal that he was randomly assigned a demon as a soldier? Besides, I became his neighbor. He had every reason to believe that the man's castle was near his castle. It would not exceed 20 kilometers at most, and was hidden in the nearby dense forest. It was just that, because his hunting range was too small and never exceeded 2 kilometers, he did not find the demon castle. Could the person behind the demon be Tang Xiaofan? The young man guessed. Tang Xiaofan, the recognized strongest castle lord. Tang Xiaofan has always been ahead of all castle lords, and even other top castle lords have not been able to surpass him. He stands at the top of hundreds of castle lords. Many people speculate that Tang Xiaofan's soldiers are top-level undead soldiers, with a large number, fearlessness of death, and strong combat power. They can be resurrected with the fire of souls after death, so they can lead all the way in the early stage. This speculation has been recognized by many castle lords, but after all, it is just a guess. No one can be sure what Tang Xiaofan's soldiers are. At this moment, a flash of inspiration came to the young man's mind, and he directly substituted Tang Xiaofan into the picture, thinking that his army was a demon, which could explain why Tang Xiaofan could look down on all the castle lords. Although this was still just his guess, after all, the information prompt only revealed that the other party was also the lord of the castle. But the young man firmly believed that the man standing behind this group of demons was Tang Xiaofan. I actually became a neighbor of Tang Xiaofan, and I accidentally offended him, and he sent demons to try to destroy my castle and retaliate against me. The young man's face was pale, and he regretted it to the extreme. If he had known earlier, he would never provoke that demon. He would even take the initiative to please Tang Xiaofan and become his follower. But now Tang Xiaofan's demon team has killed outside the castle, and it is too late to regret it. No. I can't just sit there and wait for death. I have to live. The young man immediately shouted to the soldiers outside the castle. Don't do it. We are not enemies. I'm a good friend of your Lord Tang Xiaofan, and we are from the same planet. You dare to call the Lord by his real name. You are indeed a disloyal person. Kill. Zhang said angrily, and a sweep shot hit the wall of the castle, and the rubble hit the young man's head. Damn it. Fight back, fight back. The young man roared reflexively, and at the same time, the militia in the castle began to fight back, and more than a dozen arrows shot at the soldiers. The other champion swordsmen in the castle also raised their long swords and killed them. However, their strength was too low after all, and the highest was only level 10. How could they be the opponents of the armored warriors? You must know that under Tang Xiaofan's command, the soldiers were all equipped with Mark II armor, which not only had super strong defense, but also had infinite strength. One soldier casually swung the giant axe in his hand, and chopped the champion swordsman to pieces. As for the arrows, they seemed to be extremely fast, but they couldn't even touch the soldiers' bodies. The two sides of the battle were not at the same level at all. In the blink of an eye, the warrior team rushed into the heart of the castle. The huge axe in his hand fell with a cold light. The soldiers under the young man fell one after another. More than 20 champion swordsmen didn't even last half a minute before they were all killed by the warrior team. The arrow towers standing around the castle were also blown up by machine guns, and all the archers inside died. This was not a battle of the same level at all. Even if the strength of the young man's castle increased tenfold, it could not withstand the attack of the warrior team. Don't kill me. Seeing a soldier holding a huge axe and attacking, the young man screamed in fear. Chapter 87. The thousand-fold punishment is realized, and the sweet potato nation is destroyed. Looking at the giant axe that was chopped down, he thought a lot. He didn't want to die here. He still had great ideals. He wanted to build his own empire, choose concubines from all races, and dominate all races to achieve great things. Then occupy resources, and give back to the sweet potato kingdom. Dominate the blue star. However, a hand holding a double-edged giant axe ruthlessly cut down. The young man died. The castle behind him began to tremble, as if it was about to collapse. The lord is dead. In the castle, several militias looked at each other. They didn't seem to have the idea of revenge for the young man. They all threw away the simple weapons in their hands, and chose to surrender. This is because their loyalty has dropped below 60 points. Once the lord died, they naturally defected and became free people. If the loyalty was more than 60 points, or in other words, the loyalty reached more than 70 points, then even if the lord of the castle died, they would resist to the end. At the same time, Zhang Yi raised the giant axe in his hand and said to the militia, "My lord forgives you. Now, pray to him." Under the pressure of life and death, they quickly began to pray. At the same time, in the temple in the Black Technology Town, their prayers were heard. A warm current was fed back to the militiamen, and their expressions suddenly became peaceful and no longer frightened. They knelt on the ground and prayed devoutly to Tang Xiaofan. Soon after, several militiamen chanted Tang Xiaofan's name in unison. Zhang Yi nodded slightly. Turning to other warriors, he said, "These believers have mastered basic skills such as logging and mining, which are not useless. They have believed in the Lord, and can become the Lord's peripheral believers here." The warriors nodded and said, "This is very good. With them, the Lord does not have to send farmers to occupy the resources here, and the monster corpses we hunt in the future can also be handed over to these believers to deal with. After each castle descends on the god and demon continent, it will be accompanied by some nearby resource points. Generally, stone and wood resource points are easy to occupy, while special resource points are different. For example, the titanium metal mine near Tang Xiaofan's castle is rare after all, and there are monsters occupying it. This castle was captured by Tang Xiaofan, so the surrounding resource points must naturally be occupied. At this moment, Zhang Yi was contacting Tang Xiaofan through the communication in the armor. Soon, he got a response and said to the soldiers around him, "My lord, give the order to destroy the heart of this castle." "Yes, my lord." The soldiers immediately rushed into the castle, found the heart of the castle, and swung their giant axes to blow it up. As the heart of the castle was shattered, this high-level castle also collapsed and turned into ruins all over the ground. It's really knocked down. The castle of the contestant from the sweet potato country was knocked down just like that. It's simply vulnerable. It's not a battle of the same level at all. It's mediocre. Oh my god. Go watch TV, Sweet Potato Country. On the TV of Blue Star, all TV stations and online live broadcasts around the world turn to the sweet potato country. In the picture, earthquakes, landslides, mudslides and other natural disasters occurred in the sweet potato country. The losses caused directly turned the originally not rich sweet potato country into a hell on earth. The surviving citizens began to flee. They sailed across the ocean to the coastline of ugly country, refused to leave, and built refugee settlements. I didn't expect this punishment to be real. Nonsense, you don't even look at it. This is only the 27th one, there will be more later. Hey, so many countries have had their castles knocked down. There's no way, the sweet potato country is too small, they can't suffer such a big damage. Black technology castle. Tang Xiaofan didn't know what he was doing at all. He directly destroyed a country on Blue Star. Although this country is not big, it has always been a diehard follower of ugly country. If he knew, he would be very happy. At this moment, he received a timely information prompt. Your soldiers destroyed the castle heart of the enemy force, and the enemy castle disappeared. You won the battle of the castle. You destroyed the enemy castle, and got an extra 300 soul stones. You got an arrow tower blueprint. You got 480 reserve soul stones, 400 units of food, 8,500 units of wood, 5,600 units of stone, 900 units of refined iron, and some monster materials from the enemy castle warehouse. Congratulations, you are the 27th castle lord who defeated the enemy castle. I'm only the 27th. Tang Xiaofan was a little surprised. Indeed, the benefits of destroying the enemy castle are very considerable. It also made Tang Xiaofan very happy. After all, there is not only an arrow tower blueprint, but also hundreds of soul stones and various materials. Just destroying a castle can get so many materials. It is a great harvest. But the last message prompt surprised Tang Xiaofan. It turned out that before him, 26 castle lords had destroyed the enemy castle. He thought he would be the first, but he didn't expect to be ranked only 27th. The disappearance of the novice protection shield also means that the battle between castles has begun. It is difficult for two castle lords who are close to each other to be in peace mode. After all, resources are limited. Even if there is no war now, there will be war in the future. Whether it is a castle war or an attack on the homeland, it is a matter of time. It's just that I'm only ranked 27th. Those guys are really crazy. Among hundreds of castle lords, there are always some lucky ones who are at the top of the castle power. Their abilities and strengths are also not weak, and they have the ambition to dominate all races. These lucky ones are worthy of Tang Xiaofan's vigilance. But he didn't think much about it. This ranking doesn't mean anything. If he wants to compete for this ranking, he will send a warrior team to destroy the castle in the early morning. With the strength of the warrior team, it is a simple matter for him to get the first place. The reward for the ranking is just some influence and reputation. It is not worth Tang Xiaofan's attention. I didn't expect to find the arrow tower blueprints directly. The blueprints with names do not need to be identified. Tang Xiaofan speculated that the reason why the arrow tower blueprints were found was related to the defensive arrow tower in the man's castle. Similarly, a conclusion can be drawn. There is a probability that relevant blueprints will be found by destroying the enemy's castle and building facilities. The arrow tower blueprints are proof of this. Although the arrow tower is of no use to the current black technology castle, its own defense system does not need an abrupt arrow tower at all. However, this is a good phenomenon, which can be used in the future to collect other building blueprints. It took more than an hour for the warrior team to finally transport all the spoils back to the black technology castle. Up to now, Tang Xiaofan's warehouse reserves resources for a number of materials and equipment. The soulstone was stored by Tang Xiaofan in the Cyclops ring that he carried close to his body. He thought it was better to keep these things with him. Chapter 88 Tang Xiaofan's troops are demons. After looking at the reserve in the ring, the soulstones reached 3020. There is still a long way to go before upgrading to a mid-level town. But the upgrade of the farmer factory is halfway done. This is good news. As a military building in Tang Xiaofan's castle, the farmer factory can breed professional farmers and even female farmers. Its importance is self-evident. It can even be said that the speed of upgrading the farmer factory is more critical than the upgrade of the black technology castle. Because the earlier the upgrade, the more advanced and more efficient the farmer professions will be. In comparison, the upgrade of the castle is not so important. After all, there is no reward for upgrading the castle, so Tang Xiaofan's enthusiasm for upgrading the castle is far less urgent than upgrading the farmer factory. To upgrade the castle, you can do it step by step. If the reserve resources are enough, then upgrade. As for upgrading the farmer factory, it is Tang Xiaofan's primary goal. At this time, a blue drawing appeared in Tang Xiaofan's hand. The surface of the drawing is densely covered with countless mysterious runes, which looks quite magical. It was the Arrow Tower blueprint that Zhenyi and his team had snatched. Low-level building blueprint, Arrow Tower, effect, improve the castle's defense capabilities and slightly increase the loyalty of the castle residents. Description: each Arrow Tower can carry no more than 4 archers. Construction requirements: 2000 units of wood, 300 units of stone. This thing is useless to me. Just by looking at the description of the blueprint, Tang Xiaofan knew that the Arrow Tower was of no use to his black tech castle. Because his soldiers were armored farmers, their combat effectiveness was very strong. There was no need for such a useless defensive building. Letting soldiers wearing Mark armor to garrison the Arrow Tower would reduce the overall strength of the warrior team. In fact, he didn't need the castle defense facilities at all now, but the automatic attack facilities that guarded the resource points, such as mines or automatic warning machine guns, which were still useful. Jarvis, do you want to develop mines or automatic warning machine guns? No, sir. You are in the expansion period now, and you don't need defensive weapons for the time being. That's right. After getting through this wave of beasts, I will have to expand my army. According to the current situation, if the arc reactor can be completed before the beast tide, then it can also be tested in actual combat. As for the installation of the arc reactor, it is definitely too late before the beast tide. And the Arrow Tower is built to take up space. Tang Xiaofan put this blueprint on the trading channel without much hesitation. Auction building blueprint, Arrow Tower. Auction time limit, 3 hours. Only auction materials, soulstone. Auctioneer, Tang Xiaofan. In addition to the Arrow Tower blueprint, Tang Xiaofan sold the food in the warehouse and the low-level equipment he harvested. The monster materials were still packaged and sent to the little Lali in the underground world. After doing all this, Tang Xiaofan turned his attention to the militia, brought back by the warrior team. A total of 9 people. All are level 2 and weak. Praise you, Lord Almighty. The militiamen knelt on the ground devoutly, facing Tang Xiaofan and making prayer gestures. They are not the soldiers of the enemy castle now, but the soldiers under Tang Xiaofan. Just like the nearly 2000 goblins in the underground world, they are both his soldiers and his believers, and their loyalty is less than 100 points. But they are all over 90 points. The probability of defection does not exist. This is the power of faith and the loyalty of various castle buildings. Lord Zhenyi came over to report. These believers have basic skills such as logging and mining. Tang Xiaofan nodded slightly. It seems that these militiamen are not useless. At least they can be used to collect resources. In addition, they can be sent out to the native human empire of the god and demon continent to spread faith for him in the future. The spread of faith is very important to Tang Xiaofan. He will become a god with faith in the future. The more believers there are, and the firmer their faith is, the greater the power of faith he will gain. When his followers spread to every corner of the god and demon continent, then the gods of this world will be nothing to him. Just flip your hand and suppress them. Tang Xiaofan thought about the ruins of the castle that was just destroyed. It was the edge of his territory. In the future, my black technology castle will be divided into the inner city and the outer city. The inner city is the core area where the farmers and I live. It is different from the residences of believers of other races. Non-farmers are not allowed to live there. This is an iron rule. Also, not every believer is qualified to visit my black technology castle. The level of faith is the key. I don't consider the racial factors of non-farmers, but only look at faith. The level of faith is divided into ordinary believers, true believers, devout believers, fanatics, and saints. The believers who can visit the Black Technology Castle must at least be devout believers or even fanatics. As for the future, his followers will only be responsible for preaching, and the farmer army will be the main force in combat. No one other than a farmer is allowed to get involved in my legion. Jarvis, this is also an iron rule. If anyone is found coveting, he will be arrested directly and executed after interrogation. Yes, sir. Tang Xiaofan knew that as his kingdom expanded, powerful llama would become something that all hostile forces desperately wanted. Therefore, the legion must be composed of loyal farmers, and no outsiders were allowed to get involved. For a moment, Tang Xiaofan thought a lot. It was not until he opened the world chat channel that he found that the channel's popularity had exploded. Crazy. Oh my god. Boss Tang Xiaofan's army is demons? Can you believe it? Boss Tang Xiaofan's army is demons? I absolutely don't believe it. Demons are legendary creatures from hell. How could they be a type of army? If there really is a type of army like demons, let alone ordinary castle lords like us, even castle lords with top level troops will have a hard time. I'm afraid that top level troops such as nature elves, liches, death knights, etc. cannot challenge demons. If not, it's probably completely impossible. This must be Yaoan, the castle lord who spoke before. The purpose is very clear. He is trying to provoke enemies for boss Tang Xiaofan. There is no doubt about his identity. He is a castle lord I just met. His previous words were not only sent to the world chat channel, he also sent them to me at the same time. Of course I didn't believe it at first, but now I have to believe it. Because he disappeared from my friend list. Friends disappeared. I think you all know what this means. Friends disappeared. The only possibility is that the person is dead, because if the friend is deleted, the other party will display a prompt. The person who sent the message claimed that his castle is facing an attack by a large group of demons. The coordinates are in the forest, and the lord of the castle behind the demons is Tang Xiaofan. Now, that person is dead. This indirectly confirms his statement. At least 80% of the chances are that it is true. Everyone in the chat channel was silent. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 89. Why don't you investigate the truth? The live broadcast room of the Blue Star God and Demon continent is also very hot at this moment. Do you still need to think about it? Tang Xiaofan's army is the devil. I'm so anxious. Why are you players who have been teleported so stupid? Can't you see it? The strongest castle lord. No one knows his army. Aren't these 2 points enough to explain it? Tang Xiaofan is too treacherous. He deceived the players from other countries on Blue Star. Shut up. The players of Dragon Country disdain to dance with you trash. Your players will be like the sweet potato country, waiting to be killed. The netizens of Dragon Country are not afraid at all, and they are directly criticized. What a joke. Now is the day for Dragon Country to be proud. Okay. For many years, Dragon Country has never shown its claws. Now in the God and Demon continent of another world, Tang Xiaofan finally began to arrive in another world in a crushing way. What are you waiting for if you don't support him now? Moreover, after occupying the resource points of Sweet Potato Country, Dragon Country has materialized a lot of resources. Okay. Although not a lot, they are all long-term resources. Dragon Country, like Tang Xiaofan, will dominate Blue Star. In the Gods and Demons continent, on the boundless Calamy Prairie, the burly and majestic bear, wearing high-level equipment, is leading his ancient giant bear legion to besiege a group of butterfly people. Butterfly people are native intelligent creatures of the Gods and Demons continent. They also have another nickname, the Despicable Wanderers. Butterfly people are a race of the Chaos and Evil camp, and they like to steal and attack weak opponents. There are nearly 50 butterfly people in this group. Led by 2 level 14 commanders, they attacked Bear's castle, the ancient giant bear castle, an hour ago, and then were defeated and tried to escape. Bear led the ancient giant bear legion to intercept them, and are carrying out the final siege. Today, Bear's ancient giant bear legion has become very powerful and is not afraid of losses. Kill them all. Don't spare any of them. Bear Grylls was riding on the back of an ancient giant bear, giving orders with a stern face. At this moment, he received a message from a lord of a level 1 castle. When he opened it, his expression froze. Someone leaked the secret of Tang Xiaofan's army. Tang Xiaofan's army is most likely a demon. The coordinates of its castle are in the forest. Demon? Bear Grylls took a deep breath. Even he couldn't calm down. Demons are creatures from hell, on the same level as angels in the divine world. In front of demons, a level 1 predator like a dragon is much weaker. As for his ancient giant bear, it is far from being comparable to a demon. Are you sure? Bear Grylls asked hurriedly. The top castle lord on the opposite side replied, no one can be sure. After all, this is just that person's one-sided statement. There is no solid evidence. We can only say that the probability is very high. Bear Grylls said regretfully, it would be great if there was a video of the battle. Only the top castle lords can activate this function. Bear Grylls clicked on the world chat channel on the side. At this moment, the world chat channel was completely boiling. I'm 100% sure that Tang Xiaofan's army is the devil. This is totally cheating. What is a devil? A creature from hell. I read a novel before, in which a devil massacred a country, which shows how powerful the devil is. You said it was a novel. Can we take it seriously? I also think that the devil's strength cannot be so strong that it exceeds the scope of the army. Otherwise how can we castle lords survive? It is completely Tang Xiaofan's foil. I agree with the above statement, although we are just foils now. Anyway, the power of the devil must be very terrifying. This may be the fundamental reason why Tang Xiaofan has been able to lead hundreds of castle lords. When the devil appears, the dragon has to flap its wings to escape. Even the devil has come out. This game is simply unplayable. Then you should quit the game. Quit the game? What the hell are you dreaming of? This is the real world. Quitting the game means death. Who wants to die? Even if Tang Xiaofan's army is really a devil, there is nothing we can do. If you want to quit, just slit your own throat. Calm down. It's not necessarily true. That person's castle has been captured by the demon army, and he himself is dead. How can it be false? The existence of demons must be true. But it's hard to say whether the person behind the demons is Tang Xiaofan. After all, apart from that person, has anyone seen Tang Xiaofan leading demons to hunt monsters? To be frank, no one knows what Tang Xiaofan looks like. It can only be said that the probability of it being Tang Xiaofan is very high, but it is not absolute. I agree with this, but it doesn't make any sense. The world chat channel was in chaos, and countless castle lords were arguing whether the demons that appeared in the forest were the castle troops under Tang Xiaofan. Many people believed that this was true. Because Tang Xiaofan's castle was too strong, it led the way and kept attacking local forces. First wiping out the two-headed ogre tribe, and then wiping out a medium-sized goblin tribe. This is not over yet. Tang Xiaofan is also the first lord to upgrade the castle to a town. He stood at the top of hundreds of castle lords from the beginning. Even those castle lords who have top-level troops can only look up to Tang Xiaofan. So many people believe that Tang Xiaofan is the man behind those demons. Of course, some people are skeptical. The reason is very simple. Except for the dead castle lord, no one can confirm whether his words are true, and no one has seen Tang Xiaofan hunting with demons. Seeing is believing, hearing is not. Only by seeing it with your own eyes can you believe it. At this time, a castle lord spoke. If what that person said is true, then Tang Xiaofan's castle should be in the forest. Are there any castle lords in the forest who would like to send troops to investigate? Indeed. Why not send someone to investigate? This is the simplest way, which can directly prove whether Tang Xiaofan's troops are demons. I hereby call on all castle lords in the forest to take action and investigate together. Agree. Uncover the secret of the demon for us. Appeal +1. Come on. My castle is in the forest. But do you think I'm stupid? What the hell is going on? I've offended the boss. Do I still want to live? That's right. If we offend Tang Xiaofan, the first to suffer are us castle lords in the forest. You guys are so good. You are far away in other areas and don't care about it. It's just investigating the truth. It's not that serious, right? Not serious? Then you go and investigate. Boss Tang Xiaofan, someone here is targeting you. If it is really Boss Tang Xiaofan, then we are taking the initiative to come to his door and die. Since Tang Xiaofan has already killed one castle lord, he won't mind killing a second one. Chapter 90 Warning. Do not investigate. Do not investigate. The person who first exposed the appearance of demons in the forest, wasn't he the castle lord who died this time? That guy always claimed that killing demons would get him a divine weapon. As soon as the novice protection shield disappeared, Tang Xiaofan directly sent the demon team to raise that man's castle. For a moment, many castle lords in the forest were sweating coldly and felt their scalps tingling. Although the castle lords were chatting enthusiastically in the world chat channel and the atmosphere was very harmonious. However, this was only on the surface, and the truth behind it was the cruelest. The castle battle was definitely a life and death struggle. After all, this was a battle for hegemony among all races, and the main theme was war. It was not just a war between the castle lords and the local forces of the god and demon continent. There was also an annexation between the castle lords. In the Blue Star Live broadcast room, when netizens from the countries behind the contestants saw that someone was actually going to investigate Tang Xiaofan, they were all anxious. Don't go. Don't go. My god, there are still such stupid people. What can you do if you go? You can't beat them, and if Tang Xiaofan finds out, you'll be dead. Don't go. I don't want to immigrate. Too much. Strongly request a change of people. Sending a pig is better than this guy. The netizens of Dragon Country gloated over the misfortune and encouraged those contestants to investigate. Go, and investigate Tang Xiaofan quickly, and you can attack his castle. There are a lot of supplies in it. You will get rich if you take it down. Haha, go quickly. Don't hesitate. If you miss this village, you will miss this shop. You know, there are wars between castle lords. Being in the same forest with Tang Xiaofan and belonging to the same area is definitely not good news. Tang Xiaofan's goal must be to rule the entire forest. There is no doubt about this. As for the castle lords who belong to the forest, facing Tang Xiaofan who has powerful troops, there may be only two outcomes, death or departure. They don't have the confidence to defeat Tang Xiaofan. No more words. I'm already packing up supplies and preparing to evacuate the forest. Goodbye, everyone. I'm also ready to leave. Staying in the forest will lead to death sooner or later. Wait, can the castle be moved? Of course. Just take the heart of the castle away. Excuse me, if we move, what should we do with the buildings in the castle? For example, military buildings and warehouses. Someone has tried it. After moving the heart of the castle buildings will become blueprints, and they can be rebuilt by consuming resources. But the resources that have been consumed will not be returned. Got it? I'm leaving too. Let's leave together. Hello, fellow leavers. In the Blue Star Network live room, netizens were happy to see that these players could recognize the reality. At least they didn't have to worry about being exterminated by Tang Xiaofan and suffering 1,000 times punishment. Great, I said these kids are smart and know how to handle things. That's right, if you can't win, just leave. It's not shameful. Strategic shift, do you understand? That's right, it's not shameful to admit defeat. In the continent of gods and demons, in the world chat channel, seeing the screen full of messages from friends, some people couldn't stand it and spoke out. Cowardly rats. What are you afraid of? There are at least 800 lords of the castles in the forest, or maybe even more. Not to mention that Tang Xiaofan's troops are demons. Even Satan is no match for us. That's right, we can form an anti-devil alliance in the forest to fight against Tang Xiaofan's demon troops together. The person above, it seems we have added each other as friends. I remember your castle should be in the Karami Prairie, right? It's in the same area as Bear Grylls. What kind of forest anti-devil alliance are you forming? Get out of here. Delete each other. There have always been those who like to watch the fun and make trouble. But the proposal of the alliance is really good. The proposal to form an alliance was agreed by many lords of castles in the forest. After all, relocating a castle is not as simple as just saying it casually. For example, how to leave the forest, the dangers that may be encountered on the way, and the time wasted for development. Moreover, the beast tide is about to attack, and these are all problems. It is impossible to leave smoothly. On the contrary, it is a good idea to form an alliance against Tang Xiaofan. Even if they do not become enemies with Tang Xiaofan, they can prevent Tang Xiaofan from attacking their castles alone and defeating them one by one. Therefore, this proposal has been supported by many forest castle lords. However, there are also some castle lords located on the edge of the forest. They are quite decisive and run away with their troops, and the speed is very fast. They just want to get away from this area where demons appear as soon as possible. In general, this demon incident has caused a big uproar in the chat channel of the whole world, and countless castle lords have been affected and feel uneasy. In the Karami Prairie, the powerful ancient giant bear army has wiped out the butterfly people. The 14th level butterfly leader who led the group also died under the melon teeth of the ancient giant bear. But there is no joy in Bear Grylls' expression. Tang Xiaofan's troops are demons, which has caused him a great blow and shock. Although he did not get any conclusive evidence, he felt that the possibility was as high as more than 90%. It could not be confirmed 100%, but it was enough. No wonder he developed so fast. No matter how hard we, the top castle lords, could not catch up. Demon troops, this is against the will of heaven. It seems that we really need to form an alliance. Otherwise, Tang Xiaofan's castle forces will be the only one in the future. So far, he has not had any contact with Tang Xiaofan, and all his multiple friend applications have been rejected. No friendship, no hatred. But Benny Yi felt that prevention was still necessary. Only by forming a strong alliance can we effectively fight against Tang Xiaofan's demon army in the future, so as not to be suppressed to the point of being unable to raise our heads. Even if we will not become enemies in the future, alliance must also exist. This is our capital for equal dialogue with Tang Xiaofan. Benny Yi believed that the strength of the demons was so strong that no other castle lord could challenge them alone. Only by forming an alliance and uniting together, even if there will be no real war with Tang Xiaofan in the future, the alliance must exist. Thinking of this, he immediately contacted many top castle lords in the friend column. He has hundreds of friends, each of whom has top level military units. This is the network of people he has developed. He started preparing when he first came, but he didn't expect to use it so soon. When he passed the idea of forming an alliance to his circle of friends, he immediately received a unanimous response. Because it was not just him, the top castle lords were also afraid of Tang Xiaofan's demons. Soon, there were 8 members in the initial alliance, and Bear Grylls was one of them. After the establishment of the alliance, the corresponding internal group also appeared. By the way, if Tang Xiaofan is brought in and becomes a member of our God's alliance, will there be no war in the future? There is this possibility, but it is not absolute. No one knows what kind of person Tang Xiaofan is. Why are you saying this? If you want to bring Tang Xiaofan into the alliance, add him as a friend first. Who of you has added Tang Xiaofan as a friend? It seems that Bear Grylls didn't add him. Chapter 91. The Anti-Demon Alliance is established. Hearing them sigh and add Tang Xiaofan as a friend, let's change the subject. Benny Yi rubbed his forehead. Not being able to add Tang Xiaofan as a friend is a hurdle he will never get over in his life. Regardless of whether the two sides are enemies or friends in the future, he is very determined to add Tang Xiaofan as a friend. Sooner or later, I will add you. At the same time, the castle lords in the forest also formed their own alliance. The name of their alliance is very straightforward, which is the Anti-Demon Alliance. This directly highlights the core purpose of the alliance, which is to oppose demons. This alliance was formed by several top castle lords in the forest. The number of initial members is 5. As top castle lords, they are unwilling to withdraw from the forest. Since they don't want to leave, let's unite. In the alliance group, everyone was discussing heatedly, can we really contend with Tang Xiaofan's demons? There is no doubt about that. Myths and legends exaggerate the demon's strength too much. Since the demons have been reduced to a type of soldier, they naturally cannot be as strong as mythical creatures. That's right. Since it is a type of soldier, they can be killed. The The 5 of us have top level soldiers. Later, we will develop and recruit other castle lords in the forest and absorb them all into our anti-demon alliance. I don't believe it. So many castle lords combined can't deal with Tang Xiaofan. No matter how strong the demons are, there is a limit. There is a limit. As long as the castle lords in our forest unite, it will be like playing to destroy Tang Xiaofan. Tang Xiaofan has been suppressing us since his advent. I've been annoyed with him for a long time. The fundamental purpose of forming this alliance is to eliminate his castle forces. Once Tang Xiaofan dies, the forest will belong to all of us. The 5 top castle lords were full of confidence and fighting spirit, because they are not fighting alone. By the way, why is there no news about the beast tide activity? The world announcement has not changed. It is still Tang Xiaofan who upgraded the town. Don't worry, the beast tide activity will come eventually. I hope it will come later. In the castle guard battle early this morning, I lost 3 lightning titans. A bloody loss. I also lost one of my unicorn guards. I'm lucky. My stone giant has a strong natural defense. Although one is seriously injured, it is still a complete victory. Lightning Titan, Unicorn Guard, Stone Giant are all top level troops. Wait, we will work hard to get the only reward. It will be easier to deal with Tang Xiaofan's demon troops at that time. That's right, let's go and find out the location of Tang Xiaofan's castle now. Take action early and solve the problem. Move. He is a huge threat to our anti-demon alliance. Agree. It's really lively. Tang Xiaofan was also brushing the world chat channel. He knew that the secret of the devil would cause a big wave after it was leaked. But he didn't expect it to be so sensational. Before his death, the castle lord tricked him and leaked the secret of the devil and even named him as the person behind the devil. Countless castle lords were discussing him and many castle lords tagged him in the world chat channel, hoping that he would come out to respond to this matter. He naturally ignored it. In fact, even the dead castle lord didn't know whether the person behind the devil was him. Because Tang Xiaofan didn't participate in the castle battle at all. It was his warrior team that destroyed the castle. Tang Xiaofan himself didn't show up and stayed in the black technology castle. This can only mean one thing. He stood too high. As soon as the man learned the secret that the devil was a type of soldier, he immediately thought of Tang Xiaofan. Regardless of whether he saw Tang Xiaofan in person, he directly sent a message to the world chat channel to expose Tang Xiaofan. The reason is very simple. Tang Xiaofan's possibility is the highest. The man is about to die and has no time to confirm this guess, so whether it is right or not, it is right to upload the message. The other castle lords also had the same idea, who made Tang Xiaofan the recognized strongest castle lord. Although no one witnessed Tang Xiaofan hunting with the demon team, he stood at the top of hundreds of castle lords and was the most famous. If demons were not his army, then whose army could they be? It can be said that it must be. Some castle lords also took this opportunity to unite and form an alliance to fight against him, trying to overthrow his mythical monument, step on him, and then take the top position. Now, Tang Xiaofan has become the public enemy of the top castle lords. But this also shows that Tang Xiaofan puts too much pressure on them. These castle lords regard Tang Xiaofan as the biggest threat to the future 10,000 races championship. Only by getting rid of Tang Xiaofan, a powerful bug level existence, can they compete fairly. Alliance? Ha. Tang Xiaofan suddenly laughed. These people don't understand how powerful their farmers are. When his farmer army is formed, the alliance with more castle lords will be nothing more than ruins under the giant axe. Tang Xiaofan immediately closed the world chat channel. He checked the arrow tower blueprint that was being auctioned in the trading channel. The auction was not affected, and there were still a large number of castle lords bidding. After all, the beast tide activity could come at any time. Arrow towers, which can increase the defense of castles, are very popular. And it seems that this is the first time that someone has sold architectural blueprints. The castle lords who participated in the auction were also relieved. It is recognized that Tang Xiaofan must have a treasure. Up to now, the bidding price of the arrow tower blueprint has risen to 115 soul stones, and it is still rising. Tang Xiaofan estimated that the final transaction price of this blueprint should be around 300 soul stones. This price is already very high. After all, the Arrow Tower is just a low-level defensive building. He was about to order Zeno to lead the team to continue hunting. At this time, Zhang Yi reported to him, "My lord, there are a few goblins outside the castle who want to see you. They are your goblin believers in the underground world. What are they doing here?" Tang Xiaofan was a little confused. As for those goblin believers, he just let them go and paid taxes on time without paying too much attention. But he didn't expect them to come on their own initiative. Let them in. Soon after, several goblins passed through the gate of the wall and entered the castle. Led by a goblin elder, they knelt in front of Tang Xiaofan with great reverence. If there were no warriors pointing their heads with giant axes, they would have wanted to kiss the back of Tang Xiaofan's feet to show their fanatical belief in the Lord. It seems that they are all fanatics, and the temple priests have confirmed this. "Almighty Lord," the goblin elder shouted, "please save your humble believers. The evil lizardmen have invaded the territory of your believers. Please be merciful and send down your boundless divine power to punish those shameful invaders." Chapter 90. To the afterglow of the Lizard Empire. Lizardmen? Tang Xiaofan frowned slightly. Looking at the goblin elder kneeling in front of him, he asked, "Lizardmen, what kind of force are they?" The old goblin was a chatterbox, and he introduced the ins and outs of the lizardmen to Tang Xiaofan in detail. Lizardmen are not wild monsters, but like goblins and ogres, they belong to the local intelligent forces of the gods and demons continent. Compared with strength, lizardmen are far stronger than goblins and ogres. Goblins and ogres are at the bottom of the local forces of the gods and demons continent. They are low-level intelligent races, with a general level of about level 10, and a few elites can reach level 10 or above. Lizardmen are considered to be a mid-level intelligent race in the gods and demons continent. After adulthood, they are generally elite. It is even possible to directly upgrade to the commander level and lord level, and the potential for upgrading to the king level is higher than that of goblins and ogres. The old goblin also said that a long time ago there was a lizardman empire. They created their own civilization, built an enormous empire, ruled half of the god and demon continent, and enslaved other free races. However, the lizardman empire did not maintain their rule. They were defeated in the previous battles for supremacy among all races. The huge empire collapsed, and the tribes scattered to various places in the god and demon continent, becoming large and medium-sized tribes. After listening to the old goblin, Tang Xiaofan was a little confused. Lizardmen seem to be surface creatures. The goblin tribes have always been built in the underground world. The frequency of contact between goblins and dark creatures in the underground world is higher than that with surface creatures. Facing the Lord's questioning, the goblin elder replied with a trembling body, "Almighty Lord, the territory of the lizardmen is not far from our goblin tribe. We have had contact with them before, and the two sides were relatively peaceful. Then why are they attacking you now?" "Because the chiefs and many commanders of our tribe have been punished by the Lord's warriors and sent to heaven." The old goblin shook his head helplessly and said, seeing the weakness of the goblin tribe, "The evil lizardmen sent a large army and took the opportunity to invade our tribe. Almighty Lord, your believers pursue light and have firm faith. They regard darkness and evil creatures as mortal enemies. But we can hardly resist the group of lizardmen who represent the abyss. The people of the goblin tribe are on the brink of death. We pray for your protection. Please send a powerful messenger to destroy the group of evil creatures." Hearing this, Tang Xiaofan suddenly understood that the goblin tribe and the lizardman tribe used to coexist peacefully. Although the two tribes had intersections, they did not go to war. This was because the goblin tribe was protected by the goblin chieftain who had reached the 18th level of lord. The lizardmen did not dare to invade the goblin tribe easily. Now the goblin chieftain and the leader of the goblin tribe, many elite goblins were killed by his warrior team, and the strength of the tribe plummeted. The lizardmen immediately took advantage of the situation and invaded the goblin territory. Speaking of which, the invasion of the goblin tribe was directly related to Tang Xiaofan. However, this was good news for Tang Xiaofan. He was worried. He didn't know where to find the native forces in the forest. He had a huge military force, but could only fight small monsters every day. It was a waste. What's more, the beast tide has not come yet. Now, the lizardman tribe has come to his door. He couldn't ignore the enthusiasm of the first vassal tribe. At this time, Xana stood up, took out his sword, and pointed it at the forehead of the goblin elder, and said angrily, "As the Lord's believers, you are afraid of death. I think your faith is not firm. Believers with weak faith can only prove their faith with blood. Honorable messenger of God, please calm down." The goblin elder crawled on the ground. Xana's sword was pointed at his head, but he didn't show a horrified expression. Instead, his expression was firm and fanatical. He said, "The Lord's believers are not afraid of death. Our faith is extremely pious. Death is our way to go to heaven and gain eternal life. This is the highest honor for believers. We are willing to dedicate everything to the Almighty Lord. But our mission is not yet completed. We must spread the Lord's faith to all the goblin tribes, to the goblin kingdom, and to every corner of the world. When the Lord's sacred glory covers the entire continent of gods and demons, the devout believers will be guided by the Holy Spirit, throw themselves into the arms of the Lord, and serve the Almighty Lord forever and ever." Xana took back his sword, nodded and said, "Very good." He taught his own experience to the old goblin. To believe in the Lord, you must believe in the Almighty Lord from the bottom of your heart. The Lord will protect the devout believers. As long as your faith is firm enough, you will be eternal like the sun. Praise the Lord. The goblin elders and others looked at Tang Xiaofan with more fanatical eyes. They knelt in front of Tang Xiaofan, and their faith was unprecedentedly firm. Tang Xiaofan had no doubt that, as long as he asked the goblin elders to die, they would not hesitate to burn themselves to ashes and let the pure souls ascend to heaven. This is the power of faith. The God of faith will protect believers. Tang Xiaofan believed that he would become a true god sooner or later and create a legend of God. As for now, it is still important to wipe out the lizardman tribe first. Becoming a god must be done step by step, and there is no need to rush. Tang Xiaofan nodded to Xana, who was standing beside him. Xana understood what he meant and turned around to gather the team. "Praise the Lord." The goblin elder said excitedly, "The one who invaded our territory is a lizardman tribe. The entire tribe has more than 500 lizardmen, and the general level is around level 10. There are nearly 300 elite lizardmen. There are 8 command level lizardmen, and there is also an 18th level lord level lizardman chief. Before our chief went to heaven, the strength of our goblin tribe and the lizardman tribe is not much different. Generally speaking, the goblin tribe was a little weaker than the lizardman tribe in its heyday, because the strength of lizardmen of the same level is better than that of goblins. 2 elite lizardmen can easily deal with 2 or 3 elite goblins. But if a tribal war breaks out, the lizardman tribe will not be able to completely defeat the goblin tribe, and will suffer heavy losses. This is why the 2 tribes can barely coexist peacefully. If one of the tribes is much stronger, then the war would have already occurred. The local forces in the gods and demons continent are not harmonious and stable. Especially for the races in the chaos camp, it is common to go to war. According to the old goblin, only in the central area of the gods and demons continent will there be relatively fewer wars. Those races that occupy the fertile land claim to be the good and lawful camp, at least on the surface. They maintain peace in the central area and use powerful military force to intimidate the surrounding covetous people. Chapter 93 Determine the subsequent development plan. Blue Star. Today's Gods and Demons Continent Program Team. At this moment, because of the thousand-fold punishment of the sweet potato country, it triggered a heated discussion. Some netizens left messages on the program, expressing their disapproval of Tang Xiaofan's behavior, especially after he destroyed the castle of the sweet potato country contestant, which led to the destruction of the sweet potato country, which made netizens very disappointed in him. Yuki has restored the nature of a professional host and guided the topic appropriately. When she looked at the bureau seat, Zhang Xiaoxiao took over the conversation. "I have an opinion. You know, in general interview programs, there are some rules that everyone understands, such as people with higher status or older age are respected by everyone and have priority to speak. Regardless of his status or age, the bureau chief is the undisputed leader of this program." However, Zhang Xiaoxiao destroyed this tacit understanding. He grabbed the camera and said, regardless of other people's strange eyes, "Tang Xiaofan, listen carefully, you are committing a crime against humanity. You have made Dragon Country lose all its face. My friends are very dissatisfied with you." Yuki and others changed their faces. They didn't expect Tang Xiaofan to be so clear cut this time. And if you see this video, I hope you can face your own problems. Nonsense. It's just nonsense. The bureau chief heard Tang Xiaofan's nonsense and slammed the table in anger. How can you talk to the soldiers fighting on the front line like this? He is struggling on the line of life and death. He is tied to the honor, disgrace, rise and fall of Dragon Country. It is natural for him to eliminate all unstable factors. And it was the players from Sweet Potato Country who attacked first. Tang Xiaofan, do your own thing and don't care what others say. Seeing the bureau chief's angry look, many netizens were shocked. I didn't expect that the good-natured bureau chief would be so patriotic. Good job, bureau chief. You said it so straightforwardly. Tang Xiaofan, you pig, just knows how to mess around. Bureau chief, I love you. Tang Xiaofan looked very proud and was not affected by the bureau chief's words at all. The topic on the internet is hot again. In the land of gods and demons, Tang Xiaofan is still arranging Xena to lead the team to help the goblins defend their homes, but he is not in a hurry because in a group of chaotic camps, the ruling area of the evil camp, war is commonplace, especially in the underground world, which is a paradise for the evil camp and dark creatures, and it is countless times more cruel than the surface world. The old goblin tribe has long been accustomed to the battle array, and it is impossible to be defeated quickly. Tang Xiaofan said to Xena, who had just entered, you lead the 2nd regiment of warriors to the underground world to help the goblin tribe resist the invasion of the lizardmen. After the victory of the war, go directly to the territory of the lizardmen. Destroy that lizardman tribe. Yes, Lord. Xena obeyed respectfully. Then, together with the goblin elders, they headed straight for the goblin tribe in the underground world. Zhang Yi stayed behind as usual. He led a group of 500 warriors to guard the Black Technology Castle with Tang Xiaofan. For Zhang Yi, it was his honor to serve Tang Xiaofan, and he was very happy. In comparison, the promotion level was not so important. However, in Tang Xiaofan's view, guarding the castle was a huge waste of resources for Zhang Yi. He should go out with a warrior group, kill the enemy to gain energy points so as to be promoted to a higher level, play a greater role. You know, Zhang Yi is now at the peak of level 18, and like Xena, he is only one step away from being promoted to level 19. But now, he is forced to stay in the castle, and cannot go out to participate in the battle to gain experience. It is indeed a bit delayed, but Tang Xiaofan has no choice. The Black Technology Castle must be protected. He has limited strength alone, and the arc reactor is not ready yet, and it is not known whether it is possible to be installed. If we recruit soldiers and produce Mark II armor on a large scale now, it may lead to the embarrassing situation of large scale modification of armor in the future. Therefore, we should maintain the scale of 1000 soldiers now, start the factory to produce parts, and be prepared. Of course, it is not bad to have Zhang Yi accompany him. Among all the soldiers, he is most satisfied with Zhang Yi. Tang Xiaofan said to Zhang Yi, you must be prepared. The beast tide may come at any time. Don't be careless. Yes, Lord. Zhang Yi said quickly, guarding the castle, and guarding you is Zhang Yi's duty as a soldier. They all envy me. It's different. Tang Xiaofan waved his hand. He certainly knew that the soldiers were fanatical and took serving him as an honor, but he paid the most attention to the improvement of the castle's strength. Zhang Yi was one of the key points in this plan. A great warrior like Zhang Yi could not always be in the job of guarding the castle. He had to go out to fight. To realize his due value, Tang Xiaofan said in his heart, after a while, once the arc reactor is proven to be applicable on a large scale, then the soldiers can go out hunting and gain experience. Originally, defending the castle was a headache for all castle lords. Castle lords could not send out all the castle troops like Tang Xiaofan to hunt wild monsters to gain experience. Instead, they had to allocate a part of the troops to stay in the castle to prevent the castle from being attacked by the enemy. The dispatch of troops to protect the castle also directly affected the efficiency of hunting. It really bothered the castle lord. The fundamental reason was that the castle's defense was not strong enough. Tang Xiaofan had no concerns in this regard. After his arc reactor was made, the Mark II armor would have great mobility, and at that time it would be able to completely keep the enemy out of the country. Moreover, He had heard from Jarvis that there was an energy shield protection device that could effectively defend against the infiltration of hostile forces. With the energy shield, the defense of his castle would be greatly enhanced. Even if the fire dragon attacked, he was not afraid. The defense of the energy shield could completely delay the emergency return of the warrior team. Kill the fire dragon again. Tang Xiaofan has always been thinking about the fire dragon that only appeared once. It dared to burn birds and beasts near his territory and spread its dragon wings to cover the blood moon above the black technology castle. It looked down at him coldly and finally passed by and went away. This fire dragon is the first one. How could Tang Xiaofan forget such a domineering creature? One day, he will skin the fire dragon, remove its bones and scales, and make it into a king level magic equipment to wear on himself. After all, the number of warriors is too small. If I have more than 10,000 warriors guarding the black technology castle, what big problem is it? Tang Xiaofan sighed slightly. Compared with other castle lords, his warrior team is actually very powerful. It can almost be said that it is the best in the world and unmatched. But in the end, there are only 1,000 warriors. It is far less than the scale of a warrior army, so it can only be called a warrior team. So, upgrading the farmer's factory is the top priority. The second is to set up the energy shield, and finally to upgrade the castle. This is Tang Xiaofan's current development plan. Chapter 94. The brightest star is Dada. At this time, he felt something in his heart and opened the friend list. The little Lalita in the underground world sent him a message. Tang Xiaofan, I have good news for you. Oh he. Tang Xiaofan's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that this lucky little Lalita dropped another blueprint? In the early morning castle guard battle, the little Lalita dropped 3 blueprints. This was because the number of violent monsters attacking the Dark Iron Dwarf castle was small. If the number caught up with the monsters attacking the Black Technology castle, Tang Xiaofan suspected that the little Lalita could get at least 5 blueprints. The lucky little Lalita is not a boast, but has been proven by facts. Now that the castle defense battle has ended, the little Lalita's aura of European Emperor still exists? Tang Xiaofan asked, what good news? Did you reveal the blueprint again? No. Tang Xiaofan just breathed a sigh of relief, and the little Lalita sent a smiling face. Tang Xiaofan, Uncle Xavier accidentally found a dark gold treasure chest when he went out hunting this morning. 3 big monster eggs were opened from the treasure chest. Dark gold treasure chest. Monster eggs. Tang Xiaofan's heart skipped a beat again. He didn't expect that there would be such a thing as a treasure chest in the God and Demon continent. She is worthy of being a lucky little Lalita. He suddenly remembered that when the goblin tribe was captured, a little warrior found a treasure chest in the treasure house of the goblin chief. Several soul stones and the king level equipment forest giant ring were found in it. Could it be that it was also a treasure chest? And not just a collection of the goblin chief. As for the monster eggs, according to the little Lalita's European Emperor luck value, he suspected that it might be the eggs of top level soldiers. Yeah. The little girl continued to reply, Uncle Xavier doesn't know what kind of monster the monster egg is, but the uncle said it is a powerful monster, and he is very sure. He also said that it will hatch in 2 days. Oh. Tang Xiaofan was silent for a long time. Sure enough, in terms of luck, the little girl has never lost to anyone. Not only did she find the treasure chest, but she also opened the eggs of top monsters. What else can I say about this amazing luck? At this time, the little girl sent another message. Mrs. Tang Xiaofan, Kena wants to give you 3 monster eggs. When they hatch in 2 days, you can keep the top monsters as pets. Tang Xiaofan was shocked and asked quickly, why do you have such an idea? That is a top monster native to the God and Demon continent, not a top monster recruited by the lord of the castle. With it, your castle will be stronger. As far as Tang Xiaofan knows, the arms of the lord of the castle of the same race are slightly weaker than the native creatures of the God and Demon continent. The most prominent difference is the initial level. For example, the top level magic beasts, the native top level magic beasts of the God and Demon continent, may have at least level 14 strength when they are born, and it is very easy to enter level 20 or above. The top level magic beasts recruited by the castle lord are only level 4 at the initial level, and they are level 18 when they grow up. This gap is still very large. Woo. Little Lolly bit her finger and replied, Kena knows that there are many bad guys who are targeting Tang Xiaofan. If Tang Xiaofan has these 3 magic beasts, his strength will become even stronger, so don't be afraid of them. Obviously, the little Lolly also saw the information in the world chat channel. Some of the castle lords are forming an alliance. The purpose is to fight against the possible demon soldiers of Tang Xiaofan. As Tang Xiaofan's little follower, the little Lolly naturally chose to protect Tang Xiaofan and stood firmly on Tang Xiaofan's side. Tang Xiaofan was touched and replied to the little Lolita, don't worry about my business, Kena, I'm fine. I'm glad Kena is fine. Tang Xiaofan, you don't know that Uncle Xavier has been promoted to the 20th level commander. He can protect Kena. The top level monster egg is more important to you. Seeing the news from the little Lolita, Tang Xiaofan's mouth twitched slightly. Xavier, the Dark Iron Dwarf has been promoted to the 20th level commander. His original level was as high as the peak of level 18. He is the Sky Swordsman of the Dark Iron Dwarf clan. Now he has been promoted to the 20th level commander, which is one step faster than his War 1 and War 2. The little Lolita's luck is so terrifying that it is suffocating. But in the end, Tang Xiaofan still did not accept the little Lolita's kindness and refused again. Tang Xiaofan changed the subject. Why didn't you ask what my army is? If it was someone else, when they were criticized by thousands of people, after the devil's secret was leaked, they might ask him at the first time, to find out the truth from him. But the little Lolita never asked him. The little Lolita answered easily. Kena said that Kena would not bother Tang Xiaofan. If Tang Xiaofan wants to tell Kena, he will tell Kena. Kena doesn't want to make Tang Xiaofan angry because of this. Tang Xiaofan had a complicated expression. This little Lolita was so sensible that it made people feel distressed. I really don't know how she persisted in the dark underground world alone when she first came. After all, her troops were so weak. Tang Xiaofan thought about it and simply said frankly, they guessed it right. The demons that appeared in the forest are indeed my troops. So, you can keep the top monsters for yourself. I don't need them. Tang Xiaofan didn't care about telling it out. After all, many castle lords firmly believed that this was a fact. They even formed an alliance to fight against him. Whether it was made public or not, it didn't matter much. Unfortunately, unexpectedly, the little Lolita was full of curiosity. Master, is your demon very fierce? Fierce, very fierce. Oh, Master Tang Xiaofan, do you think Kena will have a chance to meet you and the demon brothers in the future? Of course there is a chance. I must pay attention to protect myself. Yeah. Kena knows. Kena is very powerful now. That's good. In the dim underground world, the castle of the Dark Iron Dwarfs, the little Lolita looked at the 3 giant black eggs placed in the yard with some loss. Uncle Xavier, Tang Xiaofan doesn't want these 3 monster eggs. Princess Kena, these are top level monster eggs. When the dwarf Xavier heard that Tang Xiaofan insisted on not taking them, he breathed a sigh of relief. At the same time, he said anxiously, Your Highness, since the legendary castle lord doesn't want them, let us hatch them. The little girl nodded and said, okay, we hatch them ourselves, and then become stronger as soon as possible to help Tang Xiaofan. Yes, Princess Kena. The dwarf Xavier was overjoyed and immediately summoned a group of black iron dwarfs to carry the top level monster eggs to the cellar of the castle and provide them with soul stones to speed up their hatching. The little girl was alone, standing on the balcony on the top floor of the castle, leaning on the railing, with her 2 little hands supporting her chin. Watery black eyes, in that sky. The brightest one is Tang Xiaofan. HMM Chapter 95, The Unlimited Growth of Mark Armor. Kena was lost in imagination. I really want to leave the underground world as soon as possible. Kena wants to see Master Tang Xiaofan. I want to see Brother Devil. Master said there will be a chance in the future. But Kena is worried that Kena won't be able to wait until then. The underground world is a very dangerous world, full of countless dark and evil creatures. She has always known it. In another underground world, the war between the Goblin tribe and the Lizardman tribe has entered a white-hot stage. Hundreds of elite Lizardmen waved their javelins and attacked the walls of the Goblin tribe. The walls have become riddled with holes, and behind the gaps, stood a large number of skinny goblins, desperately resisting the lizardmen who wanted to enter the tribe alone. Faith makes them brave and fearless. Death is not the end, but a way to gain eternal life. Almighty Lord, please favor our goblin tribe. Sacrifice and dedication are our glory. Believe in the Lord and gain eternal life. The goblins shouted firmly, fearless of the powerful lizardmen. More and more goblins were stabbed in the vitals by the dart guns in the hands of the lizardmen, and blood splattered 5 steps, but no goblin retreated half a step. On the contrary, there were crazy goblins rushing out of the wall and fighting the lizardmen to death. War is always tragic, but their faith is extremely firm. The goblins believe that the Lord will protect them. Finally, reinforcement came. Dozens of warriors in steel armor rushed into the battlefield of this underground world. It's the Lord of God. Almighty Lord, you have heard our prayers and sent the envoy of God to protect us. Praise the Lord. Kill all the ugly bipedal monsters. The dark underground world. The warrior team attacked with powerful force. After entering the battlefield, the soldiers raised their machine guns and started shooting, and the ruthless bullets shot at the lizardmen. The shining fire of the machine gun completely illuminated this underground world. Compared with the lizardmen on the battlefield, Tang Xiaofan's little warriors were too strong, and those ordinary lizardmen and elite lizardmen could not resist at all. Even the commander level lizardmen on the battlefield were killed instantly. Soon after the warrior team joined the battlefield, the balance of victory in the war began to tilt towards the goblin tribe. The goblins also went crazy. Kill. The Lord's messenger has arrived, and victory belongs to us. Light will eventually defeat darkness. On the battlefield, more and more goblins turned from true believers to devout believers, and some devout believers turned into fanatics. They were firm in their beliefs and fearless of death. They jumped out from behind the tribal wall with simple weapons in hand, and fought desperately with the lizardmen on the battlefield. Their fighting mode was almost the same as that of the violent monsters at night. Nothing could make them retreat in fear. Not to mention the lizardmen. Even if the enemy was a real demon, they dared to rush up and take a few bites. In the ancient war of gods, the goblins also charged into battle. Damn it. Where did the steel monster come from? What is the Lord's messenger? Damn it. I know their origins. They are evil creatures from another world. This damn goblin tribe actually betrayed the truth and surrendered to creatures from another world. The goblins have been bewitched by the belief in evil gods. The evil power of faith has made the timid goblins crazy and dare to fight us. Retreat. The creatures from another world are too strong. We are no match for them. Withdraw from the underground world and settle accounts with them later. On the battlefield, many lizardmen were roaring and retreating. Lizardmen are tall, generally about 4 meters tall. Compared with lizardmen, goblins, who are only 1 meter and 23 meters tall, are simply not good enough. Lizardmen's thighs are thicker than goblins' waists. A slap on the face can definitely kill the goblins. But now the lizardmen are fleeing in panic, throwing away their armor and helmets when they flee, looking so embarrassed. The skinny and short goblins, however, are holding weapons, shouting and chasing the lizardmen with crazy expressions. Such a scene is very funny and absurd. But this is the fact. Under the attack of the warrior team, the lizardmen camp has completely collapsed. More than 100 elite lizardmen were quickly slaughtered by the warriors, and the remaining 40 or 50 lizardmen desperately fled to the exit of the underground world, leaving this underground world filled with the power of faith, fleeing back to their tribe of lizardmen. They will be safe. Unfortunately, this is just their wishful thinking. The warriors will never let them escape back to the tribe, and their only fate is death. Disloyal. You invaded the Lord's place of faith and still want to return to the surface world? Xana held a giant axe and war armor, directly blocking the fleeing lizardman team. Whirlwind slash. He transformed into a steel whirlwind and killed the lizardman team that was rushing over. The speed of the whirlwind slash was extremely fast, as if crossing space, and it crossed dozens of meters in a blink of an eye. Wherever they passed, they left a bloody mess. A dozen elite lizardmen were killed instantly, with their limbs and flesh scattered all over the ground. In the back, other warriors chased after them, using machine guns and giant axes to cover more lizardmen in the shadow of death. In a flash, the lizardmen surrounded by the warriors turned into corpses with screams. The warriors launched an extremely powerful attack. At this point, the war in the underground world subsided. More than 300 elite lizardmen and 3 commander level lizardmen who invaded the goblin tribe were all killed. At the same time, golden light appeared on the bodies of many warriors. This is a sign of promotion. In addition to the promotion of the warriors, many goblins in the goblin tribe have also been promoted to a higher level. Since they surrendered to the Black Technology Castle, they have automatically become soldiers under Tang Xiaofan's command, with the ability to increase experience by killing enemies. Of course, goblins are a low-level intelligent race with low growth potential. When they reach the limit of growth, they will have no experience when killing enemies. It's not just the goblins. Tang Xiaofan's warriors and the arms of other castle lords are the same. It can be seen from here how important the growth limit is. This is also the fundamental reason why Tang Xiaofan ignored those castle lords and formed an alliance to fight against him. His warriors have a growth limit, but his Mark armor has no limit. Now the Mark II armor is already incredibly powerful. If he finds more sophisticated machine tools and makes nanomaterials in the future, then a set of nano armor can beat the entire god and demon continent. Growth limit. That thing is only suitable for these backward natives. No matter how powerful their arms are, even if the number increases tenfold, they are still not the opponent of the Mark armor. Not to mention that, while developing the Mark armor, Jarvis will simultaneously realize other black technologies, satellites, missiles, and even big mushrooms may come out. In the later stage, who can be his opponent? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 96, The Urgent Crisis. Blue Star, today's Gods and Demons continent. The bureau chief was really angry with Zhang Xiaoxio this time, but he still supported Tang Xiaofan. Look, what's the point of this battle? This is a life and death battle, not a paper talk in the studio. One negligence, that is eternal damnation. According to the resources Tang Xiaofan has now, if his castle is destroyed, then the punishment of the Dragon Kingdom will be manifested 1,000 times. I guess everyone present will not be able to sleep peacefully. Gods and Demons continent, looking at the corpses of lizardmen all over the ground, countless voices of praise shouted out, "Praise the Lord." The goblin elder knelt down excitedly, and other goblins in the tribe also knelt down. They believed that a large number of tribal warriors were promoted at the same time. This was a reward from the Almighty Lord for their heroic battles. The glory of the Lord enveloped their goblin tribe. The goblin elder knelt on the ground, facing the statue standing in the center of the goblin tribe, and prayed, "Almighty Lord, create the world, create everything. Create light, create the sky and the earth. Create the stars and creatures. May the holy light always be with you forever." The statue in the center of the goblin tribe is a statue of Tang Xiaofan, which is tens of meters high. The believers of the goblin tribe gather in the nearby square at dawn and sunset every day to pray to him through the statue. You can vaguely see that there seems to be a glow on the statue. That is the brilliance of the power of faith. Although the statue is not a special building and is even carved from ordinary boulders, faith itself is a very mysterious power. Anything can become a carrier of the power of faith under certain circumstances. The believers of the goblin tribe pray devoutly every day, and the power of faith derived from it is gathered on this statue. It has become a carrier of the power of faith. When Tang Xiaofan grows up, to be able to collect faith, he can take the power of faith in the statue and transform it into divine power. And this is his power of faith. Even if other gods take it away, they have no way to use it, let alone transform it into their own divine power. Instead, they will be involved in a dispute of faith with Tang Xiaofan. So under normal circumstances, the gods of the faith system will not steal the power of faith of other gods. This will not only damage the virtue of the gods, but also bring disaster. Xana came over with a huge axe, looking down at the goblin elder who was worshipping the statue. It was not until the goblin elder finished praying that he spoke. "In accordance with the order of the Lord, you arrange people to work with me to wipe out the disloyal people in the lizardman tribe. Your Excellency, it is my honor." The goblin elder was very excited. He could finally take revenge. Then he asked carefully, Lord God's envoy, how should we deal with the lizardman corpses on the battlefield? Xana waved his hand and said, send all the equipment and items back to the Black Technology Castle. Yes, Lord God's envoy. The goblin elder shouted a few times behind him, and suddenly, thousands of goblins ran out of the tribe and began to clean up the battlefield. For them, equipment and magical soul stones are not their goals. They can't use the equipment, and they don't know how to use the soul stones. On the contrary, the huge bodies of lizardmen are very good food for goblins. The enthusiastic goblins are cleaning up the battlefield, and the goblin elders, with a few goblin warriors, guide the warrior children to the route to the lizardman tribe. Black Technology Castle. Tang Xiaofan's face was full of smiles. He has been in contact with Xana. After the battle, he roughly counted that he killed about 120 elite lizardmen this time. A total of energy points, more than 250 soul stones, and lizardman equipment were harvested. As usual, the blueprints, which are rare, still did not appear. However, Tang Xiaofan was not disappointed. Blueprints are something you can only encounter when you encounter them. In the early morning castle defense battle, 3 blueprints appeared in a row, and he was already very satisfied. Moreover, this time, killing more than 100 elite lizardmen also revealed more than 200 soul stones, which was considered lucky. So far, I have stored nearly 2,400 soul stones. I'm one step closer to the upgrade of the farmer's factory. Tang Xiaofan was eager to upgrade the farmer's factory to level 4 as soon as possible. By then, he hoped to recruit female farmers through the factory and help his farmers start a family. From the time he descended to the present, Tang Xiaofan has been staying in the castle, with a range of no more than 500 meters. This made him a little irritable. When the energy shield is set up, he can be free. Tang Xiaofan opened the trading channel. He put a batch of food and equipment on the shelves in the morning. The food was intact and no one bought it. This was because the early morning castle defense battle allowed all the castle lords to obtain abundant food. The first batch of food from the elite and commander levels that was put on the shelves was sold out. In a short period of time, the market situation of food will not be optimistic. In addition to the special food, he put more than 20,000 units of ordinary food in the trading area, but no one was interested. There was nothing he could do about it. As for the equipment, it had been snapped up. In addition, it was about half an hour before the auction time node set by Tang Xiaofan. As of now, the bidding price of the Arrow Tower blueprint has reached 286 soul stones, which is not far from the final transaction price of 300 soul stones predicted by Tang Xiaofan. Then Tang Xiaofan scanned the chat channel again. It was still hot. At present, there are still countless castle lords discussing the mystery of the demon. The castle lords have a strong desire to know about the demons that appeared in the forest. There are always a large number of castle lords who tag Tang Xiaofan, hoping that he will personally come forward to confirm whether his troops are demons and whether the castle is located in the forest. Tang Xiaofan ignored these people as usual. What does it matter whether it is verified or not? Even if he claims that his troops are not demons, will the alliances that have been formed to fight against him disband? Obviously impossible, because he is too high. He has given too much pressure to some castle lords, almost making them breathless, and they naturally regard him as an enemy. Many castle lords with top troops want to knock him off the altar and step on him to get to the top. At this point, it doesn't matter whether his troops are demons or not. What matters is how to suppress his castle power, or even destroy him. Tang Xiaofan has every reason to believe that there must be an alliance established in the forest with the core purpose of fighting against him. Some castle lords who are unwilling to leave the forest have already made an alliance and are ready to compete with him. You're overthinking. Tang Xiaofan suddenly sneered. In his opinion, the so-called anti-demon alliance is useless, at least not now. At this stage, the castle lords have not even explored 1/10 of the forest map, let alone the location of other castle lords. What's the point of forming an alliance? What's more, what these castle lords should fight against now is not him, but the wild monsters and local forces in the forest, as well as the beast tide that is about to come. Chapter 97 The birth of a new element that changes the world. The local forces are the biggest enemy of all the castle lords teleported from Blue Star. If these castle lords can wait until the local forces in the forest are cleared and then move the castles together, forming an alliance battle circle to compete with his black technology castle for the ownership of this forest, this is the correct idea. It depends on whether you can hold on until the time to fight me. Tang Xiaofan had a hunch that the beast tide was coming soon. There is still a beast tide. You can talk about it after you can survive it. His voice had just fallen. Suddenly, it was a blood red lightning, tens of thousands of kilometers long, crossing the entire sky, as if it was going to split the sky in half. A sudden thunder in the clear sky. Then, several more blood red lightning appeared. Tang Xiaofan came to the top of the castle and suddenly looked into the distance. He saw a mountain as high as the clouds exploded at the tail of the blood red lightning, and then disappeared out of thin air. The power of lightning is so terrifying. Tang Xiaofan's face changed drastically. If the lightning struck him, he and his black technology castle would disappear in an instant. Finally, the blood red lightning struck 9 times in a row before it ended. The whole world was shocked by the lightning and everything was dead silent, as if time had stopped because of it. I don't know how long it took. The residual power of the blood red lightning disappeared, and the roar of the monster finally sounded in the nearby dense forest. The sound was as dense as a war drum, and at the same time, the dense forest began to shake, and the sand and stones on the ground were also jumping. In the distant mountains, there were even more terrifying flocks of birds flying up, and the screams were like night owls, which made people shudder. At this time, a terrifying roar sounded. It was the roar of a giant dragon. Tang Xiaofan looked in the direction of the sound and saw a giant dragon covered with dark red scales flapping its wings and flying high into the sky. It's that fire dragon. It really didn't leave, and it was even very close to my castle. Tang Xiaofan took a deep breath. The local forces of the God and Demon continent are indeed cunning and experienced guys. Fortunately, the black technology castle now has 500 soldiers stationed in it, fully armored, ready to fight at any time. Otherwise, once the castle was empty, the fire dragon would seize the opportunity and decapitate it in one fell swoop. No matter how powerful he was now, he couldn't fight against an experienced dragon alone. Fortunately, he was cautious enough and didn't give the dragon any chance. As long as he didn't neglect his carelessness, the dragon was nothing to worry about. However, he found that the fire dragon didn't fly towards his castle. Instead, it seemed to be disturbed by something, flapping its wings wildly and fleeing to the depths of the dense forest in the distance. But before leaving, the fire dragon turned its head and looked in the direction of Tang Xiaofan's castle. The eyes of the dragon and the man met in the air, sparking sparks. Tang Xiaofan suddenly realized something. The dragon was telling him with his eyes that it would come back again. I'm not afraid that you won't come back. I'm afraid that you won't come. If you dare to attack my castle, I will peel off your dragon skin. Tang Xiaofan responded fearlessly and even with a provocative look. Seeing this scene, in the distance, the fire dragon roared again. A red dragon breath spewed out from its mouth, burning a large area of forest. A raging flame rose up. The instigator flapped his huge wings and flew away in the flames, no longer visible. Why did this fire dragon run away? After calming down, Tang Xiaofan was a little confused. The dragon was a highly intelligent creature. Logically, it should attack his castle now, which was the best time. If it missed this opportunity, it would be dead. But the fire dragon flapped its wings and flew away in the flames without hesitation. It left very cleanly. Could it be related to those blood red lightnings just now? Tang Xiaofan looked at the distant sky. The mountain that was high into the clouds had completely disappeared and was split into ashes by a blood red lightning. The sounds in the surrounding dense forests became more and more dense, like the beating of war drums. My lord. Zhang Yi came over and reported, I sense something bad is about to happen. Something bad. Tang Xiaofan frowned. Could this be a sign of the beast tide coming? But the question is it necessary to make such a big noise? The sky was almost split apart. At this time, Zhang Yi rushed up with a piece of fluorescent metal, shouting, my lord, it's done. A new element for the arc reactor. The metal laboratory actually made it ahead of time. Jarvis also expressed his congratulations at the right time. Sir, congratulations. We have finally gotten rid of the era of slash and burn farming, and your era has finally come. Tang Xiaofan was overjoyed and took the hard-earned metal. He looked at the direction where the fire dragon flew away, felt the surging power in the metal, raised one hand high, and shouted loudly, "I'm here. I conquer. Lord Godly." The farmers and soldiers in the city were all moved by Tang Xiaofan's heroic figure and knelt on one knee to pay him the highest respect. "Let's go," called the machines 1 to 5 and the 2 farmers and other old blacksmiths to go downstairs for a meeting. With an order, Tang Xiaofan brought his own high-tech talents and prepared to start developing the arc reactor immediately. "Jarvis, this new element has no radiation. Is it okay for me to hold it in my hand?" Just now, in a moment of excitement, he actually held the metal that was obviously a radioactive element in his hand. Tang Xiaofan hurriedly confirmed with Jarvis, "Sir, please rest assured, it's fine. This is a new element without pollution." Others were on their way, and Tang Xiaofan took advantage of his free time to open the world chat channel. At this time, the world chat channel was already in an uproar. All the castle lords were talking about the 9 blood red lightnings that shocked the world and made the gods weep. Obviously, the blood red lightning was even more terrifying than he had imagined. It crossed the entire god and demon continent and shocked hundreds of castle lords scattered around the world. It's so terrifying. This is the first time I've seen such a terrible lightning, as if the sky has collapsed. This is nothing. Countless wild monsters have been disturbed and are going crazy. What exactly happened? Is there a disaster coming? Don't worry, it may just be a natural phenomenon. Forget it. The probability of a natural phenomenon is very small. The blood red lightning is very regular, and the time interval between each time is not much different. How can this be a natural phenomenon? Best. The analysis above makes sense. My intuition tells me that something big is going to happen. Just as countless castle lords were making random guesses, a world announcement suddenly appeared, quieting the entire chat channel. At the top of the world chat channel, the announcement originally belonging to Tang Xiaofan has disappeared. Instead, a new world announcement appears. World announcement: the novice protection period has completely passed, and a new chapter of the castle age has begun. Congratulations to the lord of the castle. In 2 hours, the initial beast tide will arrive. Chapter 98. The beast tide is about to begin. World announcement: the novice protection period is completely over, and the castle age has opened a new chapter. Congratulations to the castle lords. The initial beast tide will arrive in 2 hours. The scale of the beast tide is random. Additional combat power scoreboard. The top 100 castle lords will receive rewards. The first ranked castle lord will receive the only special reward. Castle lords who fail the beast tide test will be eliminated. The battle for hegemony among all races is a journey of blood and fire. Only castle lords who have experienced cruel tests are qualified to stand at the top of the god and demon continent and master the authority of the supreme god. I wish every castle lord can pass the test. In the great era, compete for the only throne of the god king. After this world announcement was issued, the world chat channel exploded. The beast tide is finally coming, and there is only 2 hours of preparation time. In other words, in 2 hours, the territories of hundreds of castle lords will be invaded by the beast tide. Countless castle lords had mental breakdowns immediately. Despair and fear surged in their hearts. They were caught off guard. What a joke. Only 2 hours? I'm not ready yet. I'm really dead this time. I'm done too. In the castle defense battle this morning, 90% of my soldiers died in order to resist those violent monsters. Now that the beast tide is coming, how can we resist it? I also suffered heavy losses in the defense battle. Today's recruitment was not able to make up for the dead soldiers, and the newly recruited soldiers were the weakest soldiers. There was no time to upgrade, and they were useless. After the early morning defense battle, the strength of the castle lords generally declined. Many of them thought that the beast tide would be over for some time, but they didn't expect that there was no time to rest. Now, the beast tide is coming. This is simply leaving no way for our castle lords to survive. The castle defense battle is just an appetizer. The real main course is the beast tide. Brothers and sisters, for us, this is simply a doomsday catastrophe. The violent monsters that appeared in the castle defense battle have already made many castle lords unable to resist. It is estimated that at least hundreds of castle lords have been eliminated. And now, the more terrifying beast tide is coming again. Isn't it a doomsday catastrophe? I boldly predict that this time the beast tide will come. At least hundreds of castle lords will not be able to stop it and will be eliminated. Predict your horse. Get out of the way. Fuck. This is simply not something a human can say. What's the matter? Are you happy to see a castle lord being torn to pieces by a monster? And you are making a bold prediction. Why don't you predict whether you can see the sun tomorrow? This kind of person has a dark heart. Just block him. The world chat channel is full of all kinds of negative energy. Everyone is under pressure and is very angry. Many castle lords were in despair. They barely survived the castle defense battle, and their troops had not recovered yet. The beast tide appeared again, which left no way for the castle lords at the bottom to survive. There was no hope at all for them. This was the cruelest thing. Facing death, everyone had a fear from the depths of their soul. This was instinct, and it could not be ignored by saying that they were not afraid of death. Many castle lords collapsed, and even cried loudly, because they could not see the dawn ahead. For many castle lords who had already suffered heavy losses, the beast tide was a doomsday catastrophe, a death warrant from the king of hell, and a pre-book cemetery bill. At this moment, a castle lord suddenly spoke up. Don't worry, everyone. Listen to me. The world announcement said that the scale of the beast tide is random. The meaning of random is very clear. The scale of the beast tide invading each castle lord should be different. Some are huge, and some are small. This is a glimmer of hope. The person above is smart, but I don't dare to fight. I think it should be related to the number of wild monsters around the castle. The more monsters around, the larger the scale of the beast tide, and vice versa. After all, the god and demon continent is a real world, and wild monsters cannot be directly refreshed, like in the game. Can the number of wild monsters near the castle directly affect the scale of the beast tide? So the world announcement shows that the beast tide is random. My castle is located in the ice field adjacent to the ice and snow kingdom. There are few wild monsters, and few monsters were seen in the castle defense battle last night. The scale of the beast tide invading my castle will not be too large. This possibility is very high. Don't worry, the one on the ice field, you will definitely be able to pass the beast tide. The only bad thing is that the scale of the beast tide is too small, and it is difficult for you to get higher combat power points. In an ice field castle, a woman with short hair and tight clothes breathed a sigh of relief. She was telling the truth. There were too few wild monsters around her castle. It was difficult to hunt wild monsters on weekdays. This also directly affected the strength of her troops, and failed to improve. If she really encountered a large-scale beast tide, her castle fever would not be able to resist. Now she seemed to be relieved. As for the battle power points, she didn't think about it at all. There were hundreds of castle lords in the battle power points list, and only the top 100 would get rewards. She didn't even think about competing for it. The battle power list was prepared for the top castle lords. For example, Tang Xiaofan and Yi, who were known as the strongest castle lords, and castle lords with top level troops such as stone giants and lightning titans. Although her troops were high level troops, she was not qualified to compete. There were hundreds of castle lords. There were at least 50 castle lords with top level troops. In front of the top castle lords, they, the high level castle lords who were barely lucky, could not make the grade at all. There was no hope of competing for the 100 places. Therefore, as long as she can safely pass the beast tide, she will be satisfied. In the castle defense battle in the early morning, the castle lords have eliminated many wild monsters. I believe this will also affect the scale of the beast tide. The local forces will not attack our castle during the beast tide. Everyone can rest assured about this. I suspect that the beast tide will not only attack our castle, but also attack the local forces. I thought of the same thing. Just now, my troops started a war with a group of goblins. After the blood red lightning came, the group of goblins immediately retreated, shouting that disaster is coming and returning to defend the tribe. So, the local forces will also indirectly share some pressure for our castle lords. This is also good news. That's right. But we can't be too optimistic. Once those local forces come to their senses, they may give us a blow. That's right, this continent of gods and demons is really too dangerous. There are crises everywhere. Have you just discovered it? How many castle lords have died in just a few days since we came here? Chapter 99, The Birth of the Arc Reactor. The beast tide is coming soon. What is Tang Xiaofan doing? Why doesn't he call back all the people he sent out? Damn, why is this guy so troublesome? Zhang Xiaoxio changed his demeanor as an international friend at this moment, and was also frightened by the confirmed announcement on the screen. He shouted at the top of his voice, Tang Xiaofan, what are you doing? Did you hear me? Recruit farmers quickly. Netizens were stunned by his sudden collapse. Who the hell is this? Yuki, the director, and Master Zheng were all confused by his hysteria. Those who were just condemning Tang Xiaofan for disregarding world peace are now starting to worry about Tang Xiaofan. Zhang Xiaoxio, don't get excited. Tang Xiaofan must have made arrangements. Master Zheng is a kind man and advised. At this time, the director suddenly exclaimed, what are they going to do? What is that? Oh my god. He created a reactor. In the workshop. That's not the point. The point is, why the reactor is only the size of a palm. In the land of gods and demons, in the black technology castle, Tang Xiaofan was not in a hurry at all, because at this moment, he was hit by great joy. The arc reactor is about to start. Watching Nang Yi carefully hand a made silver ring to Tang Xiaofan, 1.9 grams of new element. Tang Xiaofan took the tweezers and took it carefully, slowly placing it on a ring-shaped base covered with coils. Because there is no high-end laboratory, Tang Xiaofan's method of making the arc reactor is basically the same as Tony's method in the cave. It's just that Tang Xiaofan's materials and tools are more complete than Tony's in the cave. The power is also far beyond Tony's first-generation reactor. Moreover, he also had Jarvis to help. Jarvis, what would happen if there was a problem with this step just now? Tang Xiaofan wiped the sweat from his forehead and asked. When the power is turned on for testing, an explosion with the equivalent of 176,000 tons of TNT will occur. It is 100 times the size of the large mushroom in Sakura country. Hearing Jarvis's answer, Tang Xiaofan was slightly stunned. Then he smiled. But we succeeded, didn't we? As he spoke, Tang Xiaofan connected several cables to the reactor. At the other end of the cable was a battery removed from the Mark II. Jarvis, get ready to power on. After speaking, Tang Xiaofan silently pressed the power on button on the side. But, in an instant, countless high-energy particles bombarded the nuclei of the new element inside the reactor, instantly reaching a high temperature, causing the deuterium-tritium fusion in the vacuum tube, and instantly generating a neutron flow pulse. Terrible energy was generated in an instant. But from the outside world's point of view, after the power was turned on, the reactor flickered a few times, and then it was successfully lit up like a uniquely shaped light bulb, releasing a dazzling light. In fact, it is not the electrons that make the reactor glow, but the neutrons that are glowing. Sir, the arc reactor has been successfully lit up. Congratulations. After the reactor was lit up for a few seconds, Jarvis' voice slowly sounded. So beautiful. Tang Xiaofan unplugged the cable, holding the reactor, that continued to glow, his eyes full of uncontrollable joy. Jarvis, how is its power generation efficiency? 4.5 billion joules per second. The amount of electricity generated by the reactor in 1 second can meet the castle's living electricity needs for a year. After a moment of silence, Tang Xiaofan changed the subject and said, let's install it on the Mark II armor. I can't wait to fly to the sky. With the arc reactor, I'm the strongest man in the world. I can fly, as long as I want this time. As he spoke, Tang Xiaofan walked to the Mark II armor with the reactor. He opened the chest armor of the Mark II armor, and stuffed the reactor into the reserved position. Click. It fits perfectly. Immediately afterwards, the eyes of the Mark II armor lit up. The Mark II armor has been equipped with a reactor. Self-checking. All functions are normal. Before Jarvis finished speaking, Tang Xiaofan couldn't wait. Robotic arm. Soon, the high-precision robotic arm, under the control of Jarvis, helped Tang Xiaofan put on the armor. Okay, let's go. Wearing the Mark II armor, Tang Xiaofan accelerated directly towards the exit of the castle. While running, the Mark II armor suddenly ejected a particle beam from the soles of its feet and suddenly took off. It turned into a bright silver arc and flew into the sky. Under full power propulsion, it reached 1,000 meters high in less than a few seconds. Woo-ha. Sir, please note that the Mark II armor cannot resist cold, and it will freeze if it continues to rise. I know, but it's cool. Just do a cruise within the sphere of influence. Jarvis, set the path. Yes, sir. Tang Xiaofan shouted excitedly. Increase the speed of the armor again. Boom. With a loud bang, Tang Xiaofan successfully broke through the sound barrier. The air formed a ring-shaped barrier behind him. I'm planning a flight route for you. Jarvis' voice had just fallen. Tang Xiaofan immediately began to fly along the flight path on the HUD virtual display. He flew over the goblin tribe and saw the 2nd regiment of warriors advancing. But he ignored it. This was all arranged, and there was no need to intervene. The arc reactor gave the Mark II armor an extremely high speed. Although the speed of 1.3 Mach could not be compared with some supersonic fighters, it was far beyond the maximum speed of most flying vehicles. Soon he returned to the sky above the castle. Looking down from the sky, Tang Xiaofan saw that his castle was still a relatively small town. But with the arc reactor, everything will be different. He did not continue to play. After all, the beast tide was coming, and business was important. He quickly returned to the castle and arranged for the blacksmith shop to start producing new element, while others were fully preparing the coils and other bases of the arc reactor, ready for large-scale installation. At this moment, many castle lords in the World Chat channel were analyzing the beast tide activities. Less than 2 hours before the beast tide hit, at this time, someone expressed a pessimistic view in the channel. No, the time is too short. I still don't see any hope. My castle is in danger. My situation is similar. It means I'm desperate and ready to face death. Take care, brothers upstairs. Maybe there will be a ray of hope. Dawn. Many castle lords at the bottom looked desperate and could not see any hope. Their troops were inherently weak at the beginning, and they had to be careful when hunting monsters on weekdays. If they were not careful, they would lose troops and earn less than they lost. In the battle of castle defense, their troops had already suffered heavy casualties. Now, the beast tide is coming again. Even if the scale is random, it is difficult for them to see the dawn of hope. At this moment, they envied the castle lords who had top-level troops. Those people were at the top of the pyramid of hundreds of castle lords. They didn't worry about whether they could resist the beast tide, but only cared about competing for the only 100 places on the battle power list. It's so unfair. Chapter 100. The new identity of the castle lord. Why are other people's troops of high level and top level, while mine are the weakest and low level? You still say it's a fair competition among all races. Where is there any fairness? Many castle lords in the World Chat channel complained and expressed dissatisfaction. But they could only complain. No one can change the fate that was determined at the beginning. If you are randomly assigned a low-level troop, you can only blame your bad luck. Not only them, many top castle lords also claimed that the game is unfair before. But what can we do about it? Can we encourage the game mastermind to delete Tang Xiaofan's account? Reality is reality, and we have to accept it. At this time, a castle lord in the center of the World Chat channel suddenly made a bold guess. A castle lord once said that the castle can be moved. So is it possible to avoid the beast tide in this way? Directly move the heart of the castle and abandon the castle? Genius. Yes, the heart of the castle can be moved. That's right. If the castle disappears, the beast tide will naturally lose its target of attack. Isn't this cheating? A guy who obviously looked malicious spoke again. What's wrong with cheating? I'm happy as long as I can stay alive. Ignore that kind of bad guy. I've tested it, and the heart of the castle can indeed be moved away, but there is a message reminding me that once I move out of the heart of the castle during the beast tide, I will lose my status as the lord of the castle. I tried it too, and got the same prompt. Hiss, without the castle, aren't we just refugees? What's more, if we lose our status as the lord of the castle, what will happen to the country of Blue Star? The person above is funny. You don't even dare to go through the test of the initial beast tide, and you still want to participate in the battle for hegemony among all races? Still thinking about Blue Star? It's good enough that you are just deprived of your status as the lord of the castle and not killed directly. At least your country of Blue Star will not be punished. The words are vulgar, but they make sense. This is a glimmer of hope. If a castle lord knows that he can't resist the beast tide and there is a high probability that he will be eliminated, then he can use this method to avoid being in a desperate situation. At least he can survive with this method. Thank you everyone. I found a way out of a desperate situation. I'm a refugee now. Not a refugee, but a wanderer. I've given up the castle too. I can't defend it. Becoming a wanderer can keep me alive. You guys upstairs are really fast. Can anyone tell me what changes will happen after becoming a wanderer? I've just become a wanderer, let me tell you. First of all, you are no longer the lord of the castle. The castle is gone. Secondly, you can no longer recruit soldiers. And finally, wanderers can also gain experience and level up by killing monsters. I've also changed my job to a wanderer. The castle forces can't handle it at all. I've also changed my job to a wanderer. I don't care whether I can participate in the battle of all races. That's right, even if you become a wanderer, you can still level up by killing monsters, and you still have the hope of becoming a god. Stop talking nonsense. What god? What throne? It's good to be able to survive. Wanderers are a new identity and a new beginning. For a time, a large number of castle lords gave up their original identities and changed their jobs to wanderers. They knew they couldn't resist the beast tide, and instead of dying in vain in the mouth of monsters, they might as well change their jobs to wanderers and start over. Soon, new groups appeared in the circle of castle forces. They can also chat in the world channel, trade in the trading channel, and even kill monsters to level up. The difference between them and the castle lords is that the wanderers have no castles, can no longer recruit soldiers, and cannot have a large-scale army to fight against the local forces of the gods and demons continent. They will lose their foundation and lose the qualification to participate in the hegemony of all races. But in the end, this is also a way out. The wanderers have no constraints, no shackles, and no burdens. The world is at our feet. Let us gallop freely. I was unlucky and randomly got a low-level soldier, but now I have started over and mastered my own destiny. There is no so-called unfairness. I swear here that I will become the most powerful wanderer and the first to be promoted to a god. Uncle 2, I will come to you right away. Okay, we also want to form an alliance, the Wanderers Alliance. Agree +1. In a blink of an eye, the world chat channel was occupied by wanderers, and there were news of contacts and alliances everywhere. Many top castle lords were a little confused. Isn't the main line of the world of the gods and demons continent the castle battle and the hegemony of all races? The castle lord is the protagonist. Black Technology Castle. Tang Xiaofan, who was browsing the world chat messages, was also a little stunned. In the blink of an eye, a huge wanderer alliance appeared, and it seemed to be growing. What does this show? It shows that this world is extremely cruel. There are many castle lords who can't stand the pressure and have to choose another way out. Therefore, wanderers came into being. Castle Lord, Wanderer Alliance. This world is getting more and more exciting. Tang Xiaofan believes that a large number of castle lords gave up their castles and changed their jobs to wanderers, which did not actually reduce the overall strength of the castle forces. Because the part of the castle lords who changed their jobs to wanderers is very weak, the impact is not great. On the contrary, their departure, instead, it left resources to the remaining castle lords. It can make the remaining castle lords improve their strength faster. Eliminating the weak castle lords, the castle forces will be more concentrated in the hands of the top castle lords, and they will develop faster. In the long run, this is a strong promotion for the castle forces. The rule of the world is in the hands of only a few people. As the castle age progresses, more and more castle lords will not be able to withstand the pressure and will transfer to wanderers. And the castle lords who persist to the end will stand at the top of the world. Because wanderers are just wanderers after all. How can one person fight against the powerful castle lord? Facing the rolling torrent of castle forces, even the Wanderer Alliance has to stand aside. This world belongs only to the castle lord. The wanderer group can only become a vassal under the wings of the castle forces. In the future, the scale of Wanderers may be huge, but it will not be able to make big waves. The fate of the god and demon continent is ultimately in the hands of the castle forces and local forces. Tang Xiaofan glanced at the world announcement again, showing that there was still 1 hour and 45 minutes before the beast tide arrived. It was equivalent to the time of a standard movie passing quickly. Battle power rankings. There are a total of 100 places. That is to say, only 100 people out of hundreds of castle lords can get rewards. The one ranked first will get the only reward. How cruel. 100 people were selected from hundreds of candidates. As for the only reward, it is supreme and only one person can get it. Obviously, for this reward, those castle lords with top level troops will fight hard. Even Tang Xiaofan is no exception. What is the throne of the God King? Tang Xiaofan found that the world announcement mentioned the authority of the gods and the throne of the God King. The former is easy to understand, but the latter, the throne of the God King, is it a symbol of status, or is there a real throne that needs to be fought for? End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.